stressful scenario. But it was nice to see that Gayatri is a very calm person in a very stressful environment, and people like who are running the production, like the sound engineer or lighting engineer, need to be calm people, because you'll have event managers or people who are really just pensive. And why are they pensive? Not because they really want to come and spoil your day, but in the sense of getting things going smoothly and in line. So just imagine if the technical crew is also pensive and you have somebody who's upset and then we are upset, it's just going to become a total chaotic situation. So it was nice to see Gayatri, a very calm person in the whole process, and that's how we met, and we did another event together as well. So that makes two events actually, Gayatri. But yeah, so a little bit about myself. I've been a musician since, I would say, the year 2001. That makes me a very old person when I calculate years, but at least a good 20, 22 plus years, if you want to put it that way. I've been playing music, primarily a bass guitarist. So I've pursued excellence in terms of giving my best unto the Lord. Whenever I play, I try to play at my best. Not to be better than anyone else, because that position is wide open. If I think I'm the best, or if you think you're the best, there is always 10 to even 100 people to be better than you. But when you look at the perspective of being a Christian and your identity there, I think as what Psalm 33 says, play skillfully unto the Lord. Bring your best offering unto the Lord. So if that is where my approach is, I cannot bring anything less. I cannot bring anything diluted or adulterated. It has to be my best, and there's a path to bringing out your best in terms of the discipline, your preparation, all of that. So I've been a musician for a good 23 years. I've met quite a few musicians who I've played along with. Most recently has been Sheldon Bangera, where I've played the bass on his album with the Jago project. I don't know if you've seen some of the songs, Jago project 2021. Please go and listen to those songs. Changa is one of those songs that came out. Changa means healer in Hindi. So please go and look up Jaga Music Project. You'll find me playing bass somewhere quietly in the corner. But yeah, so I met a few people through my years of playing music. I played on a couple of albums, 2 films, and along that process I was very blessed to join Christ University as the music director and choir director between the years 2012 and 2018. Post that, I was challenged to start something of my own. So that's when I started this sound and lighting rental company. We are called Cain Pro Audiovisual, C-A-Y-N. It has nothing to do with Cain from the Bible. I don't believe in murder, but it is an abbreviation for C-A-Y-N, which means center around your event needs. So that's how the pronunciation or abbreviation Cain stands for in the company that I run, Cain Pro Audiovisuals. You can look us up. We are on Instagram. But yeah, so this morning we're going to talk some things about sound and probably clear some perspectives. I'm going to talk more on my experience as a musician, specifically with regard to being a church musician. And I'm open to any questions you may have. I'll try my best to answer them. If it's not the right answer, I'm more than welcome to meet you at later, or you can give me a call and we'll talk about it. But just to kind of share best practices, I think that's the better way to put it. So yeah, so coming back to what I was saying, so it's been a good month since I've been just visiting, and I've gotten to know Samuel. He's a very nice, genuine young man. He is a patient guy, and it is a blessing to have different people in the body of Christ and trust and respect their what they bring to the table. So Samuel, I think you're a really nice young person. He's very humble, and he's very, very understanding and very knowledgeable. And to know that he doesn't come from a sound engineer background and he's doing this collective as a church for you is very, very appreciable. I know that because the sound engineer's position is a hot seat. Everybody will be, if there's one ring or a howl or feedback, you're not going to look at the pastor and say, what is that sound? You'll turn at the back and wonder, who is that responsible? And that's the same kind of gesture that pans out in any other environment too. So it is a very, very pressurizing place, and I hope you're giving him some grace when he tries to make sound for you all. But yeah, so it was nice to get to know Samuel for these past couple of meetups that we've been having. So what we've done is we've run a new set of analog snake cabling that gives your mixer a few more inputs. So basically you can connect a few more microphones, a few more instruments, and get a few more outputs to connect more speakers or more earphones or in-ear monitors. So that was the kind of work. So we did Uncle Babu. Uncle was there as well. It was nice to meet Uncle that whole day. So we sat here and we got the work done. So there's a system in place. It still needs a little bit of tweaking, which we will try and discuss. But yeah, so please keep your questions ready as well. And after the session, maybe we can take a question there. So yeah, so I'm going to just run through a few basics in sound. Maybe it's not the right amount of time we would have to get into all the technicalities of things, but it's probably just FYI and like again I said, just best practices, and it's good to know. So I've entitled it as Sound Fundamentals. Yeah, please at any time if it's too heavy, please feel free to raise your hand and tell me, repeat that again, or what was that, or I'd like some interaction. Otherwise I'll see it on your face that you're just it's too heavy. Yeah? Great, can we start? But before we start, let me know your names. I met Uncle.
My name is Sunil.
Sorry, Uncle?
My name is Sunil.
Sunil.
Sunil,
Sudin, yes.
It means
Good day. Great. Maybe you want to just introduce yourselves. I may not remember names, because I'm bad with names. I'll remember faces, but yeah.
Hi, my name is Jolina.
Jolina, what do you do? Joe, okay, sure, great. And your sister, you look similar.
Yeah,
Sorry?
Jessica.
Jessica, hi Jessica. I know Gayatri, of course. Prabhu. Hi Prabhu. Joshua. Paul. Aaron. Ritin. Peter, okay. Beju, yes, I met Beju too back. Tarun. Israel. Hi Israel. Sarjan, hi. Manju, hi Manju. Hi Rachel. Sabrina. Cheslin. I met Uncle Babu and sister you. Amrita. Anybody else? Neeta. Okay. I met Prashant, of course, yesterday. So great. So let's start. I've got a small presentation that I did for another church. Maybe all of the topics won't be applicable or for us to get into deep. It'll be just a touch and go and breeze through. But what I'd like to mainly focus on is the dynamics bit. How we bring all of this and we present it in worship, either with the setting of a band or an instrument and things pertaining to that aspect of dynamics. But we'll just go through a few certain bites. I've prepared a small presentation which I will share with Samuel, and you're more than welcome to have a copy of it if you need to. Yeah. So I've called it Sound Fundamentals, and the first slide talks about the most compromised part of our entire process of setting up a sound system. You need power, right? Without power, you cannot drive this microphone to sound as a microphone. It will just not work. You need to have a source. But for those who are laymen, this building has at least one type of a power source. And most common smaller requirements will have one type of power source. We're just going to look at two. So they're called three-phase and single-phase power. Now, just to keep that in a visual perspective, single-phase you can kind of associate with one line, and that's your power source. You can choose to connect many things on that power source, and it will still give you power. It's good for smaller places where you don't need segregated power, or you don't need more accommodating load or capacity of power, but it can be detrimental to like a setup here. If you're having just one line of power and you connect multiple devices on that line, it's going to be detrimental. When I say detrimental, Have you heard of a circuit breaker or an MCB, a mini circuit breaker? Okay, I'm going to explain your switch that turns on a fan, that is a circuit breaker, a mini circuit breaker. What it does is, if these two lines or these two fingers associate power moving from one point to another point, you put a switch in between and you turn it off, it breaks the flow of current. So that's what a circuit breaker is. So when you have like a sound system that's connected on a single phase power line and you turn off switches, that is going to start disrupting the power flowing to these speakers. So you will hear pops, boom, pat, pat. So all those things are very detrimental to the sound ICs or components that are going into making up a speaker or a mixer. So that will damage your equipment. But on the technical side of putting things, single phase power is a two-wire. It's a two-wire comprising of one phase line and a neutral line. And also you will have earthing. You need to have earthing, otherwise your body becomes the conductor and you will start getting shocked. So you don't want to have that. So like I said, single phase is best for homes where the largest of your loads, the most maximum that you will be requiring loads is maybe your phone chargers or even your hair dryer or even a microwave or a geyser, which is great for that. And the maximum is what you will use is 16 amps. Have you anyone paid attention to the power sockets in your homes? Okay, great experience. Meg gives you the knowledge. So anyone else? Okay, so for example, you have a point where you can go and connect your phone charger. That is a low capacity load for power, which means that point you don't need to take more power. You can connect your phone charger. But have you seen your microwave and geyser, or your geyser switch is a little broader switch, and even the connector on that is a little more chunky and fat, right? So it's not that you can't connect your phone charger to that, because it's got a headroom. Basically, if this much is the quantity to kind of subject into a visual, your phone charger requires only this much. So which means I still have enough power to draw from that source. But now the 5 amps, the smaller connector, has only this much, whereas the microwave or the geyser requires this much. So if you go and connect that, which first of all will not be possible because of the smaller points, but you're trying to draw heavier requirement load capacity from a small point, and that ends up burning. You'll see black, charred stains on the point, which means that you've ruptured that load capacity. So that is why most homes will at least have a minimum of these 5 amps or the 16 amps load. Now when you look at a building like this, right, it will have 16 amps, yes, but it is detrimental if you have a single phase line, like I mentioned, connecting every multiple device on one line, and that will start destroying your equipment over line. And that's where you need 3-phase power. Yeah, if you can move to 3-phase power, it is a form of, I'm not referring this directly there because you will kind of get confused. I'm just putting it in layman's terms. So 3-phase power, like you have that one line, picture 3 lines now. So that gives me the option of segregating what goes on which line. For example, I have ACs here, so an air conditioner will be on a separate line of power. So that doesn't, when I turn on the air conditioner, it doesn't disrupt the line the sound system is on. And vice versa, another line for maybe your fans and lights. So the principle when you're using sound is, it needs to have clear, uninterrupted electricity supplied to the devices. So you don't have any circuit breakers in between that will cause either a disruption, a shutdown or shut off, or even cause some kind of a grounding or buzzing by the adding of any other fixtures on those lines. Is it clear till here? You're getting some understanding. If not, I'll repeat it. So that is the layman's explanation of why 3-phase power is better for you to have in a setup like this. So it gives you proper load distribution, and also it doesn't mean that, going back to single phase, if you picture one line, I'm not overloading this entire line with adding so many things. Just picture adding an AC plus the sound system plus your light. So it's just going to have this line burn out. So the electricity is not able to supply the desired load, basically. So you'll start burning out lines, it'll start overheating, and you'll run into all sorts of problems. So that is not the required power you need to have in a setup. like this. So I'm 100% sure, and Samuel and anyone else can attest, Babu uncle, so that you will have definitely three-phase power running in this line. So your ACs are on one line, the lights and fans, if you need to, is on one line, and your sound system hopefully is on one line. Yeah. So it is evident if you once you start getting into analyzing, diagnosing what is this with understanding, then you will kind of know, okay, this could probably be this issue related to that concept. So you will be able to better service and better bring in a solution with a issue if arised. When we do setups for concerts that require more larger PA, we are bringing in generators. Now generator will have a higher load capacity. Remember we spoke about 16 amps. The higher the load capacity, the more the calculation of load. It goes into kilowatts or kVA. So again, you'll have to calculate what is the number of speakers, what is the light, what is the load requirement, and when we bring in one big, large generator to give the supply of electricity that's required. For example, picture we are about, say, 20 people here. If I bring two biryani packets, would it be able to suffice everyone's tummy if you're hungry? No, right? I'll need to have a large utensil of a good, maybe 15 to 20 kgs of biryani, so that everyone can have a good fair share. Am I right? I'm just trying to put it in a layman's perspective. So that's similarly how you kind of calculate the load for power that's required for the X number of equipment. And why am I touching on this? Because it's the most overlooked scenario in a setup. And when you, like, for example, had come into this building, the owner of this building didn't think that there would be a church in time that would come here. They will put speakers. So he's just given general power, the facility of power. And what you kind of allocate that power is going to fit for your system. So just to keep a perspective of how power is very, very important and can be a very detrimental part of the process if overlooked. Any questions to power? Yes, tell me, Akhil. Yes. Yes. Akhil, you please sit down. Sure.
See, I had this problem in my house. So, the mixie was running, something went wrong.
Yes.
And the fridge wound up.
Okay. Okay.
And there was an MCB as well.
Right.
Shouldn't the MCB have triggered off rather than the
Yes.
fridge getting burnt out? That is the first question. Second question is, as you said, you have got 3 lines coming in.
Yes.
Let's say in my apartment, I am maintaining my discipline.
Yes.
The next door guy, he moves up. If he goes to the buyer,
Okay.
does that affect me also?
Okay, great questions, Akhil. So to answer your first, if the MCB should have triggered first, we were doing an event for a very small engagement. And this guy who inquired from me, he was almost pleading with me, no, I need the sound. Can you please give it in this budget? And I said, okay, this is quite an important day for you. We'll give you the sound. We'll set it up, which was good quality sound for the requirement. So my first question is, what is the power? And Gayatri will ascertain that. What is the source of power? Do we have a generator? Do you have in-house stable power that is not going to hamper my sound system? So he said, yes, we have this, and we've got a generator. So we gave the sound equipment on rental. And to answer your point, Akhil, so we've got these small circuit breakers, which should ideally trip and save and protect the system. But when the load was, so what happened basically is, they turned on the generator, and within microseconds, both the subwoofers blew. And so the team was asking me, sir, what? I said, what happened? What is the issue? The subwoofers are not turning on. Check the fuse. Fuse is burnt out. Change the fuse, not happening. So basically, you have a very, very high load of power that's coming through the circuit breaker, and if it's beyond even the circuit breaker's capacity, the line will allow. The circuit breaker will trip, but the line has allowed it, and that's probably what has happened. And there's some issue with the wiring that is bypassed even the MCB, and the MCB is not able to save it. It has shut down the power as up to 16 amps, but probably if the load was even higher than that, it's even bypassed your MCB, and that's the classic case of what happened to us, and the subwoofers got damaged. And the second question is, each unit in an apartment should have an individual meter, should have an individual set of wiring. It cannot be conflicting with your neighbor's apartment. So if he is integrating A, B, C for his house wiring, it should not. And if it is affecting yours, then that means the electrician who is coming to take up the contract has done, as they would say, a jugaad work, and in a haste, he is not probably connected unit 1 to unit 2 properly and segregated. So somewhere the wires are conflicting or probably sharing, which should not happen. It's a very, very rare scenario that either the electrician has not been an experienced person, but a good contractor will ensure that each unit has their own segregated network of electrical wiring, that it does not conflict with the neighboring unit. So I hope that answers your question. Tell me, Akhil. Okay, wow. So I should make notes, yes. Tell me, Akhil. Yeah. Yes. Possible, Akhil. Yes. I've used Siemens, uncle. Siemens or ABB. That's what we have on our main power distribution panel. So when we connect a heavy load generator, now the fear, in fact, when I started this, we have a huge generator that's giving high-end 62 kVA. That's high-end power. Now my mere speaker has to be connected in some way to that source, right? So my fear is, wow, would I be doing anything that's going to connect on the power line with this high power coming to this will, instantly blast or burn or char the speakers? No, it won't, because we've got certain conversions, they are common transformers or CT coils, as you want to call them, that's inbuilt in a power distribution box, which further subdivides the power needed for that source that you're trying to connect into the power line. So MCBs for that power load will help you protect your power line. But if you're in an open source where you put a mere 20 amps or a 16 amps MCB connected to, it's ridiculous to even say, or a 5 kVA direct line, it'll instantly bypass your MCB and destroy your product. I hope it's not bounces for anybody, but I have to cater to different people asking different experiences. Questions. Any doubts with regard to power? Too much information? Basic understanding. At least now you look at your power sockets in the home a little differently. Please go back home and look at that broader switch that says 16A. It just tells you that the load capacity you can take from that is a little more than the smaller points. Like I was doing another church, we are probably doing another church in Lingarashram, that's the home church where I grew up when I was a Protestant, Divya Shanti Church. So they called me and said, brother, there's this issue, that line is fully burnt out and you can see there's all this charred residue on. So I was like, what did you connect there to a 5 amps point? They had this some type of gathering during Christmas, and the enthusiasm, they've gone and connected a grilling machine that makes the grill into that. And obviously that load requirement to run that machine is like a geyser or a microwave that needs more power. I don't know how they connect. Maybe they got this, then was over smart and bought these converters you get in the electrical store, right? You can connect the 16 amps to a smaller point. As soon as they turned on the machine, so the load is too much. So you're getting the idea, right? So you need to be connecting that into a point that gives you the feasibility of accessing more or drawing more power. So that's basically the load and three-phase and single-phase difference in layman's terms. Let's move on. Okay, does anybody know how sound is referred or calculated? Decibels. Yes? Did you say something else? Okay, decibels, yeah. Move on. Yeah, decibels. Could you move on? Okay, just backtrack. Okay, did you know that a whisper in someone's ear is about 30 decibels? Next. A normal conversation like what we are having, except without amplification, is about 60 decibels. Yeah? A motorcycle engine is about 95 decibels. Okay, I wanted to hold on this, but yeah, did you know that decibel levels, sound pressure levels that directly hit your ear At anything above 70 decibels, for a prolonged time will damage your hearing aid. So that is why it's important when you buy a speaker to just turn it at the back once. The manufacturer will not be held responsible for faulty handling or incompetence. So they have a manufacturer's guide. So every speaker has a level of decibel that it can give you. I think this should be somewhere around 100 plus decibels, at least touching 119, 120. I have not seen it, but I think it should go around that. That is very, very loud for the human ear. So the chances of you standing in direct contact of this speaker being at its peak power, if you turn the speaker or you look at its manual, it will have something that says peak power. What does peak power mean? And the chances of driving the speaker at peak power in this room is going to be, on the scale of 1 to 10, it will be probably 0.5 or 10. It just basically means you're going to turn the volume up of the speaker at its full capacity and drive it at its full output capacity. So that's what peak power is, and in doing so, when they give you these levels, it means they're talking about the capacity that the speaker will be running at its peak power. So if you're going to be in that hearing range, your hearing will be, over time, will be damaged at 70 decibels, right? And at 120, there's not even no room for discussion. Your hearing will be damaged. That is why they throw caution. They tell you, please have a safe distance when you go to concerts, standing at extremely loud PA. In fact, the BBMP, or Bruhat Bangalore Mahanagar Palike, they have a decibel level. The guys will come, which should be somewhere around 70 to 80 decibels only, not more than that. They will come. I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen it. One constable will come. If he hears, of course, you need to get the license. You need to get permissions to have an open air concert. But even in doing so, if you're having it around in an area where there are apartments, you'll still get complaints. They'll call the police and say, they are disturbing too much. It's going, please send somebody to talk to them. So the PC will respond to that call, and he'll come and he'll say, sir, SPL meter? He'll ask, where is your SPL meter? Means sound pressure limit. It tells you what decibel are you driving that mixer's main master fader, or the full amplitude of the PA. And you better be in the permissible levels, otherwise you can be spot fined, or you can in fact have the concert shut down. So, but yeah, so that's what it means when you're talking about decibels. Any questions on this? Okay, we can keep them at the end. Uncle? Okay. I think something that matches the human hearing level, Uncle, as mentioned, permissible, that doesn't become into noise. You want it to be music to your ears, and that's a saying that we've heard many times, music to my ears. So it should be at a decibel level, I would say somewhere around 50, 60. 50 is in fact very high. 40 to 50 should be great actually at that decibel level. But then again, you need to measure it with an SPL meter, Uncle. So what is the optimum loud level of volume that we are driving the church sound? You get these SPL meters. You can look it up, Samuel. Some mobile apps to have it. You can just check what is the level of thing. And I'm not sure if that's something you want to come to, but you can probably take a decision to say, okay, we'll cap the sound level. And probably have to talk to Samuel. And so he adjusts all the gain settings that we don't move beyond a threshold of sound, which is maybe 50 or 60 decibels, which still remains pleasing. So that's my suggestion, Uncle. In open air scenarios, there could be a need for you to elevate the volume level, but again at a level that doesn't disturb or disrupt hearing aid. Uncle.
Now, in this present atmosphere, let's say your decibel level is X.
Yeah.
Okay. You take the second case that you got curtained and wall-to-wall carpet. Would the decibel level be the same, or it is just the echo which makes the difference?
Yes, Uncle, you're asking some good questions. So, so we would call that soundproofing or sound reinforcement. See, like these are hard surfaces. Tiles are a very hard surfaces, or even depending on what ceiling is being used, you can have sound that's rebounding. So each speaker has a dispersion pattern. Do you know what dispersion means? Anybody? Disperse. Jesus dispersed the disciples, go north, south, yeah? So that's what it means, to send out, yeah? So dispersion pattern. So now, if you go down to the nitty-gritties of a setup of sound, even the way you mount your speaker matters. If I'm going to have this angled in such a way, tilted, where the main dispersion is hitting directly to the ground, you will have a rebound. And if that surface is a hard surface, you will have reverberance that is created. As I'm talking, you can hear there's a slight reverberance because of the hard surface around. Some sort of proofing, carpeting, diffusing, acoustic panels, all of that, of course, that's an add-on thing, but if you've entered into an auditorium or theater, you will never see a hard surface ground. I'm sure we've all entered. Or was it only me that has entered the theater when I was young? Sorry, but just to give you an example, or a studio, when you go to record music, you will find that everything, every section is diffused. The sound, to have sound rebounded is diffused. You're countering that issue. So, so that can add, Uncle. So that can add to maybe, I would say, an issue of trying to kind of trim and make sound feasible. So even the venue that is matters. So it can make this room naturally a boomy or reverberant room, and that's a big challenge for when we go and set up sound. So here you have a station sound. Thankfully, Samuel, you don't have to do this every week. But we have to do that. Now, if someone calls me for something today and then again tomorrow, there's this ton of cables that we have to do. And Gayatri has seen that we are the first people to go in and set up the sound, because when the band comes, it has to be ready. Because I can't be connecting my microphones then, and these guys will say, I thought sound check was about 1 o'clock. Why are these sound guys setting up now? So that'll throw people off. When that throws off the schedule, the program is supposed to start at 4. I'm going to eat that time, and then the event manager saying, why are we still checking sound? The program is supposed to start. You get the point, right? So, so for us, it's every week is a different kind of a setup. So I have to make sure that this entire thing is set up again and again and again. And we don't have a choice of venue. You have a choice of venue. You can trim and adjust frequencies for this room. But yes, the room and the setup or the construction does matter, Uncle. So, absolutely. Yes, it does. Yes, summertime is, I mean, like these questions bring out, you're like, okay, wow, this so much goes into setting up, making this microphone sound like a microphone. I didn't know that. But yes, if you take a sound system, like for example, we've never dipped temperatures, but in the cold weather season, if it goes really down into the tens of degrees, molecules or atmospheric pressure is less, you know. So that makes it even more difficult for sound to disperse or pass through. The medium for sound is air, physics class. So you need air to travel a distance to bring out that sound. So if I'm standing at point B from where point A, which is the speaker, that sound is not going to come because of the denseness of the molecules in the air. So even the weather conditions matter when you are putting a sound system. So let's move on. Frequencies and feedback. I think we'll talk about feedback secondary, but yeah. So does anybody know how frequencies are measured? Hertz. Excellent, yes. Okay, this is an example of what a sine wave is. Do you know what a sine wave is? Have you heard of a sine wave? A sine wave is basically, though you're seeing an up peak and a bottom peak, it's basically actually indicating a cycle. A frequency tells you how many sine waves per minute are produced that determines the frequency. Now don't get confused when I say that. The rapid or the more number of sine waves, the quicker the amount of sine waves in a millisecond or a second, that determines the pitch of the frequency. So the slower number of sine waves in a millisecond will reduce the frequency. I hope you understand. So there are low frequencies, mid frequencies, high mid frequencies, high frequencies. So the more rapid the frequency determines the pitch of the frequency. Yeah. And if you look at, okay, I'll not skip that. So you can see the number of times the sine waves goes through a complete cycle in the space of 1 second is called a frequency. Indeed, the unit used to measure cycles per second, but sorry, my bad. The measuring unit for frequencies is hertz. A frequency of 1000 hertz or 1 kilohertz means that the cycle goes through 1000 cycles per second. So you can understand how rapid the frequency sine wave has to be to complete that kind of a frequency. And your frequencies will start from as low as 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. So for you to understand the low frequency, the bass guitar or something boomy will rest at the lower number, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. And then as you go up in frequency, your pitch also changes. So it's very important. Why we are touching on frequencies? It's important to know how this microphone works in frequencies, how your voice is in frequencies. It's a very interesting topic. Let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So just to give you an idea of how frequencies work, this PPT will be shared with you, or you can Google it, but you can Google frequency chart, or you're most welcome to take a copy of this PPT from Samuel or the church. But this is where frequencies lie in terms of a chart. So Samuel, when you're looking at that digital mixer, you'll see an RTA. It has a spectrum. It has a graph. We will all go and look at the mixer. So it's a nice chance to go and have a look at what Samuel is doing there, and then you can, hey, you're not doing a job. No, just kidding. But you'll get an idea of what he's trying to do for who? For you. So it's not an easy task. He's trying to find what is that frequency, which frequency is causing that issue. So you have a wide range of frequencies. If you hear, you know that there's something that's speaking in the bass low end frequency. Finding that frequency, how do you find it? How do you find a sound? Do you see a sound? You hear it. You use your ears. But the beauty of what you've got here in your church is an Allen Heath SQ6 state-of-the-art digital mixer that helps you to visualize the spectrum of frequencies in the form of an RTA graph. I'll show you that, and Samuel can show you that. So the RTA is a short form for real-time analyzer. We hear sounds, we don't see it. But we need to use our ears to discern what sound that is. So if you're a bass singer, you'll probably lie between that 80 to 100. No human voice can go below 40 hertz. I don't know, I've never met, maybe there is somebody who's broke the Guinness World Record. Because our human hearing, first of all, number one, can't go any below than 20 hertz, sorry. But point is, you get an idea where the frequencies lie, and each instrument is specific to frequencies. Each component, for example, okay, where would a bass guitar instrument lie? Could you tell me? You can choose any frequency. Give me a cluster of frequencies. Give me more than one or two. 40 to 80. Yeah, great. Or maybe you can push it up to even 160, because it says low bass, mid bass, upper bass. So basically everything in bass. Yeah, bass guitar, he's the man for bass, so we'll give him all the categories: low bass, mid bass, and upper bass. So I don't think we'll be able to go lower than 40, but we'll just say, as you said, 42. I'll push it up to 160. Let's look at a guitar, an acoustic guitar. Come on, guys, I'm sure some of you are musicians here, singers too, or even your own voice. You heard your own voice. All your life you are hearing yourself, right? So you can gauge an idea of where your voice is. But why am I emphasizing on this is I was doing a concert, I was playing. This time I'm not as a sound engineer, but as a musician. I was playing the bass at Windmills Craftworks. How many of you heard of Windmills Craftworks? It's a fine dining restaurant made by Total Environment. Have you heard of this company? So Total Environment, go and look them up. They bring premium artists, premium ensembles only. They have a very selected, they will not allow any group to come and perform there. High ticketed rates, but anyway, point being, I feel privileged because suddenly I'm getting a call, someone says, hey, are you this bass player? I said, yes. So I got this reference from Keith Peters. Have you heard of Keith Peters? Ball bassist who plays for Rahman. Roja, the movie, all those Chinna Chinna, say, just to give you an example. So all those bass lines are played by Keith Peters, who was A.R. Rahman's ex-bassist. You can go and look him up. Keith is a good friend of mine. And so there's this guitarist called Dennis Stern, who is the head faculty at Swarnabhumi Academy of Music. And we have a tabla player who is from Berkeley, Valencia. Have you heard of Berkeley School of Music? Berkeley, Valencia. So he studied in Berkeley, Valencia, Spain. And guess who they've called for bass? They've called for me for bass. Why? Because Keith Peters, who's supposed to play, is not available. He's taken up another concert, maybe because it's paying better. So, and Dennis Stern, who's a Russian jazz flamenco guitarist, he's panicking. He's like, Keith, you are not going to play this concert with us, then what can I do? You know, like, I have to not take up the gig. So Keith is like, wait, I'll give you one number. Call that guy and he will take care. And it was a privilege for me to be at that program as a bass player. It was a lot of Carnatic fusion that we played. But the point that I'm trying to drive there, the tabla player, he's a Berkeley guy, he's a sound guy. He's talking to the sound engineer, not saying little more sharp, little more mid, little more bass, cheta. He's not saying that. He's saying, give me a generous 350 hertz. Where is 350? Mid-range. He's playing a tabla. He knows his instrument sound, so he knows the frequency, and if you kind of mess around and say, yeah, I've given, he will still call out the frequency. And if need be, he'll leave his instrument and come, can you please show me where you've cut my frequency here? They do that. Some people who are really particular know their sound. So what I'm trying to say is, try and start listening to your own voice. There are different vocal techniques that, having directed a choir, I can say that different ways of listening to your own sound, so you kind of associate with the frequency or pitch. So it's great to know that the lowest is 20 to 40 and the highest, as you can see, 20,400 kilohertz. And I think the next slide is a sound bite. Am I right? Okay. So this, okay, I think the next slide is a sound, but yeah, keep that. Go back. So this is how it looks to Samuel on the mixer. This is what he is looking at. And I'll show you. It is exactly like this, but not exactly this image, but something else. So you have, so for example, if I'm that tabla player who said, give me a generous 350, which means like, don't be a conjuice fellow. Give me little more than 350s. When he says generous, he's talking about the decibel level. So first of all, I will target 350 somewhere here. There'll be like a curve that comes up. And now he's saying, once you've identified 350 hertz, push up the gain level. So balanced gain level is 0. Now please push it up. Be generous. Give me little more volume. So you can see 0 dB is the base level. Is this ground level. Now once you start pushing up gain, it increases the height of the stage. Just to give you a layman's term. So identify the frequency here and give it a boost. So that's what he was asking for. I think next one is a slide, right? Prashant? Yes, please tell me. Yes. Uncle, I'm just going to crack a silly joke. Bass guitarist is a guy who plays with less number of strings and the guitarist has more number of strings. Just kidding, uncle. Okay, so the bass guitar, okay, if your instrument is tuned in fifths, how many of you are a little bit aligned with music theory? Anybody play an instrument here? Nobody from the worship team? Okay. Then you should be proud. Yeah, I play that keyboard. So, what is the fifth of G? G, A, B, C, D. Yeah, so the fifth of G is a D, right? So, when you look at the guitar and bass, I'm just going to draw a comparison. So, your instrument is tuned in fifth. So, if this is a E, this will be a, your first string on a guitar is, anybody? D or E, right? So the fifth of a E is E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, yeah? You're getting this. So your instrument is tuned in fifth. So fifth of E is a B, a fifth of B is whatever. And so you're targeting the octave, uncle. Now to answer your question, you're looking at the higher registry plus a combination of lower registry. So the acoustic guitar or lead guitar is divided into two registries. In fact, you can probably take three. But to highlight more, you got the chunk of the high sounds in the bottom or the first set of 3 strings and the lower sounds on the next set of 6 strings. But that caters to a holistic approach because the guitar player will play a lot of chords and voicings. For harmony, you need at least 3. Everything has a connection, uncle. So as vice with sound. So the harmony will have a root note, a third note, and a fifth note. So give you do, re, mi. Even you add that to a choir, you'll have some bass sing do. Someone will sing a mid part, which is an alto, and the tenors go high. So you have low, mid, and treble, even with the choir. So coming back to your instrument, the guitar caters to a holistic approach. It caters to chords, which is holistic, whereas the bass guitar is specific to highlighting the low notes. So that is the difference between a bass guitar and guitar. I hope that answers your question. Can we move on? Okay, so just give you an understanding of what the frequencies sound like. We'll play a sound bite and I'd like you to tell me where we are in frequencies. And I am pretty sure I might be wrong also. So you can see the low frequencies are more puffy, more boomy, more fat. Yeah? As we move up from 100 hertz, the frequency starts getting a little more thin. Yeah? It's not as boomy as you would hear it. And I will show you that when we play a sound bite. You need to tell me where we are. Okay? And even better if you can say which hertz we are. Either we are in 200, 300, just a random number. Yeah? We'll play a sound bite. But as we move into the 500 hertz, it starts getting nasal. Yeah? Mid, honky, or very, take an empty tin and just whack it. Tong, tong, tong. You hear that mid tin honky sound. That's where the 500 to 1000 hertz. And when we move on higher, you'll have the crispness of the frequencies. That's a little more harsh, a little more, very extremely thin, extremely bright. Yeah, all of those frequencies lie in that frequency range. Do you know? Have you heard someone say check, check, check? You know why he's saying that? Because the poor guy has never got paid. He's saying, please pay me, check, check. No, kidding. Kidding. Lame joke. But the reason he's saying check, have you heard someone say check? Test. Hey, 1, 2, check. Listen to the words I'm saying. Check. Hey. Test. Test. 1, 2. Check. Can you tell me why? Not because he came up, he was doing some time pass, like, you know, I'm just going to say some random words and let the sound. Okay, done next. No, but there is a reason why he is saying these number of words only. Can you tell me why? I'll repeat that again. Hey, check. Test. 1, 2. Check. Exactly. So each word highlights a frequency, and we were talking about this yesterday to Samuel. So, hey. What frequency is more? Exactly. So if I need to keep checking that microphone, the sound, and say, keep saying hey, or if it's me, I'll say, please keep saying hey, 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 hey. So, and I'll increase my voice to also bring out that decibel level from the speaker, so the sound will, oh, okay, great. So we are having an issue with this frequency here. So he'll trim. So keep saying hey, 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 as annoying as it seems. So that's why we request the audience, please don't sit during sound check. Please go out, come when the music is all set and ready, you'll enjoy. Otherwise you'll get, what is this fellow going on? Check, 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 check. But there is a reason that you need to find those odd frequencies. Not every, because it's all there, or it's like a buffet. Yeah, because you see a buffet, it doesn't mean you can eat everything, right? They say 399, come and eat. But can you eat all of that? You can't. You'll fill your plate once, maybe one extra, one leg piece you'll go and take, and that's about it, right? You will not, they've understood the approach because you can't eat so much. And that's simply the analogy here. Just because all the frequencies are there, you don't send a microphone. It'll start howling, it'll start booming. Then say, what is this? You've not cut this microphone, you've not tested it, you've not trimmed this. So that is the approach when a sound engineer is sitting there. He'll ask you, check. Could you please check that microphone? Keep saying check. Keep saying test. Keep saying 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, hey, hey. So whatever the sound engineer is hearing, now I can't say I saw the sound was great. I heard the sound was not right, and I start trimming the frequencies. Yeah, is it making sense? Is it informative? Yeah. Okay. The next slide. The thing. Okay. So listen to the next slide, and I'll ask them to turn off the presentation. And together, I might be wrong. I'll probably get it wrong, but let's try. And then I'll ask them to say. I'll say pause, and he'll stop the video. Please stop the video, Prashant, and we will try and guess what frequency we're hearing that might be. Remember, it's going to be moving up from. Excuse me. It'll be moving up. Yeah. Can I have some water, please? So it's moving up, and let's guess which frequency we are at. Okay. Yeah. You can turn off the projection and play the audio. Trust me, the frequency has started. Yeah, am I right? Okay, stop. The reason you couldn't hear it is because, like I said, below 40 hertz, you will not. The human ear can't pick up sounds, and that's why you didn't hear it. Play. Stop. Guess. Bass. Could you give me a number? That means you should have taken a screenshot, like I saw someone taking a screenshot. You can look at that and tell me, guess. Okay, so basically it's, yeah, who said 100? Okay. 60. Your answers are not wrong, don't worry. I'll not say, hey, stand up on the bench. So your answers are not wrong, so just tell me some answer. 60? Anybody else? Around one. Okay, can we unanimously come to one number? We'll say between 100 to 140? 100. Yes, uncle, the last sound. What do you? 500. Okay, great. Okay, hold on to that. 500. But can everyone else say between 100 to 140, or is there a difference? Any difference? Sure? Only uncle says 500. Okay, just turn on the projector. What is the number that you see there? 58. Yeah? Shall we move on? We'll try guessing a couple of more times. Yeah. Turn off the projector. Please play. Stop. If someone's getting a headache with the sound, please let me know. Okay. Any guesses? Now he's coming to 140. Okay. 200, 140, anybody else? 300? Okay, so we've got 140, 200, 300. So where do we round off at? Or shall we keep all three? 140, 200, 300. Yeah, everybody? Turn on projection, please. Still at 1.4. Okay. Let's move on. Let's play. We'll do this till we reach 20,000 hertz. And we can close your ears. Okay, tip, don't rush the number in your head. Think of those sounds, nasal, honky. Stop. Frequency. 300, okay, more 300. 4. 120, 160,
Okay, so I'm going to say between 140, 160. Uncle said 300. Somewhere I heard two 300s and one 600. Someone said 6. So 150, 300 and 600. Yeah? Projector on. Who said 300? Who said 300? Yeah, uncle, give a pat on your back. So this means you're aligning your ear to start listening to frequency. But we'll obviously keep getting it wrong because we are not. That's why they say, no, have you heard of somebody saying this term? He is perfect pitch. Have you heard of this term before? Perfect pitch is a spectrum that is developed in very few individuals, which means I can hear a fan moving and I'll associate the fan blade sound that's moving in air to a frequency. Wow, that is amazing, you know. Singers like Michael Jackson was known to have perfect pitch. And there are few people who you can develop perfect pitch by constantly listening to different frequencies. You have tuning forks, you have pitch meters, whatever, to help you guide, you know. There are certain prodigies. Have you heard of the term prodigy? A child who suddenly is playing like 10 times, if you want to compare skill set, way above than an average intermediate guitar player. That's a prodigy level. And for them, the odd sounds, odd frequencies, microtones will bother them. Like it bothers me sometimes, but you know, I have to overlook it. So, like for example, when your guitar is not tuned, and that is why it's important to use your tuning device. Instruments are tuned in frequencies, that's probably in the next slide. But it's important to stay in tune, and if those who have got pitch perfect frequency for their ear, they can it'll keep bothering them. Somebody's playing off, yeah, somebody's singing off. They may not be pitch perfect, but their ears are more driven to picking up the finer frequencies. So give those people also some grace, and they have a specific way. They have those qualities because of the way they are. Yeah, let's move on. Let's play. So we were last at 3 something, right? And this will irritate your ear actually. Stop. Yeah, guess. 600? 500. Okay, I can see now you're slowing it down. Yeah. 5,000. Okay, so that'll be 5 kVA. Is 5 kilohertz. Okay. Okay, 5,000. That's 5 kilohertz. Okay. Anybody else? Still in the hundreds? Anybody thinks we've crossed at least 1 kilohertz? That's 1,000 hertz. Okay, can I see that hands that think we've crossed 1,000 kilohertz? 1,000, and the rest of you are still in the hundreds? Okay, just turn on the projector. All those who said we crossed 1,000 hertz, great. We're almost touching 2,000 hertz. Okay, we'll just do this maybe 2 more times and move on to the next slide. Yes, uncle. Same, this is not even, it's just the sine wave. The sine wave, the number of cycles of the sine wave is increasing. Yeah, let's move on. 2 more times. We were at 1,760 change kilohertz. Remember, we need to touch 20,000 hertz. Stop. Guesses? 7,000. 11, okay, that's a good number. 10K, 10, 11, almost nearby. Anybody else? How many of you think we've crossed 10K? Okay. The rest are still in the single digits, is it? So then you have to be 10K at least. 10K? So majority 10K. Turn on projector. Yay, just about 10K. That is a good guess. Okay, we'll do this one more and just play it once more and then we'll. There will be a point where you will not be able to hear because the human hearing can't go beyond a particular range. There you go. But you're still guessing. Keep guessing. Is that way? It's done now? 20,000. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next slide. Thanks, Prashant. Yes, so this is there on YouTube also. You can go and annoy yourself or annoy somebody from the family and play it. And what is that sound? What is that annoying sound? Sorry, ma. Sorry, pa. I'm just tuning my ears to frequencies. Hope you don't mind. Just kidding. Don't do this at home. You will get a lot of backlash. Okay, music notes to frequencies. The chart, like I said. How many of you know what concert pitch is? Have you heard of concert pitch? Musicians, those who play piano, keyboard. Okay, concert pitch is a universal frequency that most instruments are tuned at, which is 440 hertz or A. Do you see the note A on that chart? Does it show 440? Oh, unless I'm wrong. A. Find A, you will see 440. Yes? Yes, am I right? I think the print is quite small, but A, yes. 440. This is the center octave. But yeah, you will see A major, 440. In the first octave, it is here. That's your first octave on the piano. When you go to the fourth or middle octave, middle C, anybody knows what middle C is? Yes? No? Who is playing the piano? Sorry, I saw somebody. Okay, what is middle C? You take this piano, okay, and divide it into half. You'll find two black keys. The first white note or the C note next to the two black keys is called middle C. It's your reference point. So this note or the note here, A here, is at 440 hertz. So your instruments are tuned with frequencies. Everything in sound is calculated in frequencies. The output volume is calculated in decibels. Exactly. So those of you who are studying music or getting in music, they will grill you with these frequencies for you to understand why. Because you need to know the instrument. You need that's only how you will understand pitch. The notes in a scale do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do or sa, re, ga, ma are related to pitch frequencies. So everything that you're hearing is frequency, is hertz. Yeah. So we'll move on for this. From this, we're not going to get into depth of frequency studies. But yeah, so this is a speaker specification. I'm just going to breeze through it. It is a speaker that we have. It's made by a company called Adam Hall or LD Systems. Have you heard of, Samuel, have you heard of LD Systems? Okay, so we've got one of their flagship speakers, which is LD Stinger Generation 3. That's what the speaker is. Stinger is the model name. So the woofer is a ferrite magnet. There is a difference in that as well. And why am I bringing this up is if you've not, especially Samuel or others handling sound, please look at the manual for this. You will know what are the specifications for this speaker. This is specifications for this speaker. So this is probably a class D amplifier as well. It's got an inbuilt amplifier, which means it's got its own power source. Some speakers don't have that, which means I have to have an external amplifier. You might have seen Ahuja amplifiers, though I don't recommend them. I'm just giving you a layman explanation. But this has got an inbuilt amplifier, so it doesn't need an external amplifier. So class D. So it's got a 15-inch driver. This is probably a 12-inch driver. Driver when I say radius of the speaker. 12-inch. Ours is a 15-inch with a HF. What is HF? High frequency, exactly. The high frequency is a 1-inch. Yes, sir. 12 diameter, yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yes. Or a 15-inch in terms of the measurement. Yeah, so this has got a dispersion. This speaker has a 90 to 50 dispersion. When I say dispersion, sound moves like this. Okay? So the dispersion here is, when I say 90, it's looking at a 45 degree like this and a 45 degree like this. So it covers 90 degrees this way. And when you say probably this will have a 60 or 50. It's looking at this way. Yeah, 25 this way and 25 this way. So holistically you get sound move like this. So that is why it's very important to look at the speaker dispersion, and then you need to angle your speakers in the hall or premises wherever you are mounting them. So yeah, that is a 500 watts speaker, and that is at peak power. Now you know what peak power is, right? What is peak power? At its highest optimal output level, which I recommend you never need to turn these speakers up. But yeah, so that's 500 watts. This will have its own specification. Samuel, you can probably look that up. That's more, yeah, it's got a frequency response. Now you know what frequency response is, having played around with that chart. So which means that speaker, even this one, has the capacity, the potential to give you sounds from 50 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. Yeah, it has, supposedly JBL says that this is manufactured by JBL. So it says, we guarantee you will hear sounds from 50 hertz. So whether it's a bass guitar or something that you're playing very low, 50 hertz. Below 50, the speaker will not be able to resonate. Even your hearing aid will not be able to hear below 20 hertz. Yeah. Yeah, max SPL, I use that pressure limit, sound pressure limit. It can go up to is 130 dB at peak power. Yeah, that is that speaker. This will have its own specifications. Multifunctioning, it's talking about the features on that speaker, something like this. It's got a microphone, you know, see, you can connect microphone and you can connect quarter inch. Remember we spoke about that, quarter inch, not aux. Yeah, XLR or quarter inch. Yeah, mic or line switchable, you know those switches behind. Yeah, yeah, so it's got an in and out. Samuel will be able to relate to this. Oh, I don't mind showing you this picture, this speaker, if all of you can see this. It's got all of these functions, microphone in and out, that's what it means. Yeah, so these are the inputs, and you can connect one more speaker in a loop. So that's what that means, you know. And this has got some other options. So multiple functioning housing is that's what it means. And yeah, that's other last features is subjective to that speaker. So we can move on from this. Yes, microphones, handling and usage. Some interesting points to discuss here. I've chosen, just go back, chosen 3 microphones. One is a vocal microphone, one is an instrument microphone, and one is a condenser microphone. Have you heard of these specifications before? Vocal microphone, instrument. Okay, so in these pictures, you will see the first microphone is a Shure SM57, that's the model of the microphone. The next one is a Shure SM58. This is an instrument microphone. This is a vocal microphone, but not that they can't be used for vice versa also, and you'll get to see why it's called specifically an instrument microphone. But yes, if I hold this to my voice and I sing through it, it will sound great, okay? But it's more for an instrument. This is specific to voices. This is a condenser microphone, can be used for both because the frequency response of the microphone is that much. It's a high sensitive microphone. So we'll just touch base a little bit and then we'll move on from here. Yes. What I'm holding in my hand, Uncle? This one? This is, yes, it is similar, but it's not the same model. And it's not an instrument microphone. It's probably a classification lower than this. This is the Shure SM58, and we'll come to the specs of that. Can you move on to the slide, please? Okay, just move on. Dynamic microphones, large diaphragm. Okay, like I said, this is a presentation that I made for a specific church that had those. They said, we have these microphones, can you please talk about them? But it'll be just good to know for you. Dynamic microphones, large diaphragm, it basically means that this is the diaphragm of the microphone. Larger diaphragms will be the broader ones. You might have seen in some videos, somebody sitting with a acoustic guitar. It's like a broad, squarish kind of a shaped microphone. That's a larger diaphragm microphone. Small diaphragm is the smaller head of the microphone, or condenser like the pencil. They call it also pencil condenser microphones because the diaphragm is really small. Okay, each microphone has a polar pattern. Please tell me if it's too heavy, I'll try and simplify. It's good to know. When you say polar pattern, I'll keep it very specific. It basically, so, Okay, I'm going to pass this microphone around, and you'll see a polar pattern on this. Yeah, and then we'll open the slide. You can just have a quick look at the microphone. Next to the model of the microphone, you'll see a shape. Yeah, just identify the shape, and then I'll ask you. Did you see the polar pattern? Uh, so this polar pattern, if you turn it upside down, what shape do you see? Is it two? Who said? Heart, yes. So this is called a cardioid polar pattern. Cardioid meaning heart-shaped, yeah? And what cardioid does is, I'm just going to talk about this one because everything else I don't think we're using other polar patterns. Cardioid, picture a heart like this, yeah? A heart shaped this way. So what that does is, it picks up sound from this side of the microphone. Ideally, if this microphone is properly ringed out. Okay, so if I'm standing in front of this this speaker, if it was a supercardioid, you'll see that. Or it is a omnidirectional, which means it's picking sound from all sides, 360, omnidirection. But this is cardioid, which means it'll pick up sound only from this side, possibly this side, and possibly this side. It'll not pick up sound from here, which is really good when you're standing in front of a speaker. And what is feedback? Did we speak about feedback? Feedback is basically created when you stand like this, you talk into a microphone, it's amplified through a speaker, it comes back into a microphone, goes back to the speaker, comes back into the microphone and goes back into the speaker, and I'll just keep repeating myself because it's an infinity loop that's created. And then the speaker just howls and says, I had enough. It'll just howl, and that's what is feedback, yeah? But a cardioid microphone helps nullify that. So it will not pick up sounds from me. It should not ideally. as you can see. But you can further refine the speaker and ensure that it still doesn't give out feedback. So as you can see, I'm standing in front of this microphone, this monitor, and which means Samuel has done a great job. So it's not giving out feedback because of the polar pattern. Yeah, let's look at some polar patterns. As you can see, the first one is cardioid, and that's what this microphone is. You turn it upside down, it's got a cardioid. So supercardioid is like this, hypercardioid like this, omnidirectional, like I remember good with condenser microphones, or they're recording some kind of a large orchestra where you need a lot of other sounds picked up also, and it's not cut off by the microphone. Okay, so you will rarely use these microphones, this microphone, and they have their uses in terms of sound, and certain sound engineers will want certain types of microphone. This is very good for vocals. That's why all your microphones, so when you are going to buy a microphone in future, my request is please look at your specification, because the sales guy, chahiye le lo, take it sir, tagoli sir, it's here only, because he is not interested in educating you. He is not, trust me. No one is out there. They just want to sell their product on you, and if you know, he is stuck. We got this guy, the candidate, he knows, so I can't fool him, basically. So you should always get into a scenario where I know what I need, but yeah, be open to feedback, because don't think that guy is a uneducated. He knows, he definitely knows the product, but he's waiting for it to come from your mouth, whether this is what you want. Once the sale is done, it's closed. Until you realize it'll probably be out of your warranty, or it's too late to go and exchange it, and stuff like that. So it's good to know. So the most sought after microphone for vocals is a dynamic or cardioid microphone. Yeah? So dynamic microphones. The legendary Shure is the company, SHURE, this model is a Shure SM58. Do we have SM58 here? Can I disconnect it, please? This one, right? It's muted. You can just pass it around to them, and hopefully it has the polar pattern and it's not wiped off. It's still there? No, it's not there. Okay, no worries. Just pass it around, just for them to see the microphone. So just move on to the text of this. So a dynamic microphone is a type of mic that converts sound waves into electrical signals using electromagnetism. So there's a magnet, there's a copper coil. So when electric current is passed through the microphone in very minuscule electrical signal volumes or amplitude, if you want to say, that gets converted into your voice being amplified through a sound system, or using the technique of electromagnetism. So dynamic vocal microphones, please move on. Yeah, the SM58 is what the microphone you're seeing is one of the best microphones in the world today. When I say it's panned industry, and if you have that in your church, great. So this is the most sought after microphone. As a company, we keep these microphones. Bigger companies who do bigger concerts, so you might have just heard Ed Sheeran was here in Bangalore, and all of these big international secular artists who come, they will ask for certain microphones, and I'm 100% sure this will be one of those microphones in that for vocals. Yeah, so it has a frequency response. So look at the manual. It can cater to, when we touch the next microphone, you will know why it's called an instrument microphone. So this microphone, it's a vocal microphone, caters to sounds from 50 hertz to 15,000 hertz, right? So you know the sound, kind of having done the frequency example, you know what's the capability of this microphone. It's tailored to highlight vocals, hence the bass attenuation from 440 to 400 hertz. Okay, so bass attenuation means that it is cut. Okay, it's because we don't need bass at 40 hertz for a human voice, like I said, right? Attenuation means, Samuel, you'll be able to, even on your DI box, there's something called as attenuation, which is that minus 20 dB, right? That is what you're cutting 20 dB. So in this microphone, attenuation is not here from 40. So minus, it doesn't go down basically, okay? So this is to combat the proximity effect. Do you know what proximity effect is? Have you heard of this? You'll see some rappers do this. Check, check, check. So what happens is, if I talk like this, if I cup the microphone microphone. That's why you should never cup a microphone. I don't know, it's become like a style statement, or I don't know. It does muffle your voice, as you can see. My whole voice tone is changed, right? So maybe to bring that kind of an effect, some rappers or some guys kind of, hold their microphone, but it's not the recommended way you should hold a microphone. A microphone has to be held clear to your mouth or lips, and then you have to be speaking to it. So proximity effect is, when you do this, frequencies are kind of, how to say, constricted into a small space, and that could also cause feedback or the proximity effect. You'll see this, it'll start, some kind of a ring will start coming from the microphone. So that's what the proximity effect is, which is when the sound source is too close to the microphone, causing bass frequencies to get exaggerated. It starts getting excited in this small space, creating an unpleasant sound from the microphone. That's not natural to your voice. Yeah. Can we move on? Okay, sorry. What was the frequency hertz of the last microphone? 15 to 15,000 hertz. Yeah. It cannot go below 40 hertz. It starts from 50. The SM57, for that matter, please put the text, is a legendary instrument microphone that can be used for vocals. Don't get me wrong, can be used, and vice versa. But its response to audio frequency and the microphone mounting method that primarily determines if the microphone is better suited for instruments or vocals. Just move on. The SM57 specifications, as you can see, it goes down to 40 hertz. So which means if I'm using this microphone for a djembe, do you know what a djembe is? No? That Middle Eastern drum with a small bass. It's a small hand drum, you can play it like this. Yeah? Djembe, D-J-E-M-B-E. It's not, sorry, I stand corrected, it's not Middle Eastern. The origin is an African drum. But yeah, there are different versions of that that have originated from different places. But yeah, so if you're using a microphone to mic a djembe, now the sound of a drum can go lower than a human voice. Can we agree on that? Yes? Dum. My voice can't even make that low sound, but a drum can. So you need to bring a suited microphone to capture that low frequency, right? Otherwise you will not be doing justice. So that's why the SM57 is the best microphone for instrument. And that's why it comes in the classification of an instrument microphone. Let's move on. Condenser microphones are active microphones. Basically, let me put in layman's terms. Sorry, was it someone's birthday? Okay. So this microphone, how to say it? It is not a this is not a condenser microphone. For example, this microphone, if I connect a cable to this and ask Samuel to give me some volume, it will work. Now, if I connect a condenser microphone and ask Samuel to give me a volume, it will not work. Why? Because it needs battery, it needs a charge to activate the diaphragm in this. And you can either add a battery, but you will never get the concept of a slim pencil condenser, because you could possibly add pencil batteries, but that will add to the weight of the microphone, that make it inconvenient. So what modern technology has done is, they can send that electrical charge from the mixer. So the mixer channel has something called as 48 volts. Please make a note of these things, because I'll show it to you on the mixer. It has something called as 48V or phantom power, which means it's a rogue power that comes into the microphone, gives it the necessary charge, and only then it will activate. So that's the lame specific comparison between a condenser and a dynamic microphone. Dynamic microphones, you don't need additional power. Condenser microphones need 48 volts or phantom power. Let's move on. These are pencil condenser microphones, what we have in our inventory. And sorry, go back. That also has a response of 40 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So it can be used for instruments. Could it be used for instruments? Yes. Can it be used for vocals? Yes. So if I'm miking a choir, I'll use some condenser microphones or the 58. Let's move on. A pro tip when handling microphone, I've seen this done many times, and I request, if you're doing it, to stop doing it. When you come to when someone gives you a microphone and you want to know whether it's on or it's working, please say, check, 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 check. If you don't want your voice to be too loud, check, and everybody gets startled, so you can just say, check, 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 check. Is my voice audible? And then you move on. But never do this. Never hit the microphone. And that's what the pro tip is. Never tap or hit the microphone to test if it's working. Almost everyone does this. Hello, 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 hello. Volume, volume. No, no. But those are unavoidable situations where I cannot, I don't know the person. So I'll just mute his channel and say something on my tongue. Please check. Say check into the microphone. Hopefully that guy hears me and says, okay, check, working. But point is, never tap a microphone, just because that spoils the diaphragm. So, although this may be tempting, it can be seriously damaging to the microphone. Inside the mic, there is a small diaphragm that picks up the sound. Tapping the mic forces air against the diaphragm and causes it to rupture. So, if Samuel is going to be strict with you and say, hey, don't tap that microphone, you know why he's telling you. Next slide, please. XLR, TS and TRS connectors. This is just an FYI. So this is an XLR connector. XLR basically means external line return. Basically it means you have an external device that goes into the mixer and returns back into a PA system. So that's what this cable is about. External line. TS connectors, and I'm so thankful it's here. Okay, I'll show you this. This connector has, can you see two small black lines on it? Two small black lines. So that basically means it's a tip, it has a ring and a sleeve. So that's a TRS connector. They have their specific functions which I'm not going to get into, but this is a balanced cable. It has grounding. You have in power, you have positive, negative and grounding. So this has all three of them soldered individually into the connector's points. Whereas a TS connector, you have only two cores, so it's lacking grounding. That is why when you use instruments, sometimes you'll start getting grounding. You'll get bzzz, will be a buzzing sound on TS connectors. You may not get this on TRS connectors, and I can 100% ascertain that. So these are predominantly used for microphones. As you can see, it's got 3 points: positive, negative, and grounding. Same way this side. This doesn't have a grounding in it, so it can be risky when you use this for instruments. Whereas a TRS, as you see, it's got grounding in it. So let's move on. Yeah, balance, like I said, it's got a grounding. That's what balance means: positive, negative, and grounding connection. So these cables block the interference of your electrical signals affecting your audio signals. Yeah. Let's move on. Yeah, I think we spoke about this too. Let's move on. Feedback too, we spoke about it. What causes feedback? The infinity loop of sound coming from a microphone through the speaker. So it's preferably that you stay away from a speaker, but we can still try and trim those frequencies on the speaker. But the best thing is to avoid. This monitor I know has not been rung out, but great. So you're not getting any feedback. So otherwise, if it was not properly EQ'd, you'll probably get, it'll immediately give you a very weird kind of a howling sound. So that's what feedback is, and we spoke about it. Let's move on. Let's move on from here. Yeah, let's move on. I think we've done this. We'll skip this entire slide. Yeah, like I said, suggests to curb feedback, move the microphone close to the desired sound source. What is the sound source? Can you please tell me? In this scenario, you have me, you have a microphone, you have a speaker that's giving out the sound. So which of these three are the sound source? Speaker? How many of you say speaker? Speaker, the speaker, okay, not that speaker, just to get it right, okay. So how many of you say person? Person? How many of you say speaker as a sound source? Can I see you? Sure, nothing is wrong, you can put up your hands. But of course we'll look at you oddly. No kidding. So the sound source is the person. I'm the source of the sound because. So put your microphone. So if you're a singer and you're testing sound, please don't test sound like this. It's very challenging for the sound engineer. And we've had this sometimes. Some preachers or people who are do talks, they have it like this, but it's very difficult. So if you're a person who doesn't like to put it close to your mouth and you're a speaker or Presenter, please get a headset microphone. Your hands up, you can present. So some people are like, so there's a microphone for every kind of a environment. So people who use their hands a lot during presentation, they don't want to put this mic, get a headset or a lapel microphone. Solves the problem. But point is, the microphone needs to be near the sound source, which is your mouth. Again, a lot of microphones can have another polarity issue, which we're not getting into. But if you're on stage, sound person needs to be very careful to turn off other microphones, otherwise it'll start picking up unnecessary sounds and you will start getting feedback. Now, if there's 4 microphones that are here on stage, not needed at its full volume, it's definitely going to be an issue unless we have done certain things on the mixer to curb that. Yeah, I think this is a concern for your church. Please, and my request, whoever's in the worship team, please start using 7 point, and which is in-ear monitors. So what happens is, you have only 2 speakers here, which is a challenge. We have a minimum of 7 people on stage, yeah, and each of them is a personality. Each personality wants to hear themselves clear. So what happens is, I totally understand and I sympathize with this, because as a musician myself, if I don't feel good playing the instrument, I can't hear the instrument. How can I play with emotion? Part of your music, all of music, right, rather, is emotion. If you are sad, I mean, all through the psalmist also, when David was sad, he cried out unto the Lord. He wrote groanings unto the Lord, right? So we have that in the form of lyrics. Why not in music? So here we have sad songs. Nearer my God to thee. You know when that song is sung, right? So that's a very emotional. It's a song that is depicting loss. Yeah. It is well. Though it's a very beautiful hymn. Do you know how it is well was written? I forgot the name of the person, but do you know the background of it is well? Does anybody know the background of it? It is well with my soul. You know that hymn? So it is a hymn that's written by a man. You can look it up. He lost both his wife and children in a, I think, ship accident. Yeah, but yet he had the heart to write that song. And even so, Lord, in my state of total loss, total grief, it is well with my soul and befitting for what you are doing in this phase of my life. So we have songs to cater to that. So yeah, the emotion that I was talking, that the musician needs to hear himself, to bring out that emotion, to feel the emotion, play with articulation, is not there. So he'll say, Korcha volume, so please increase it. So when you start increasing more and more and more, so if his volume is loud for him, that guy's volume is so loud, yeah, please give me someone, please give my volume. Increase. So poor sound guy is like, oh, you want some more? Okay, please, you want some more samba? Please take. So you're giving everybody, and what happens is it's a bad mix. It's just ending up, and you're going to get something called as, Samuel, from the stage. When the stage sound becomes more, bleed. It's called bleed. So your sound from the stage is bleeding into the audience. It's too much. You're like, So the band is happy, but it's like, this is more louder than that. So I sympathize. You'll probably need more speakers, but that's not the solution. Let me tell you that. In a scenario like this, you have a hard surface rebounding, like we spoke, right? So much goes into the sound being sound. Please use in-ear monitors. That saves the sound guy of a major issue. So he can peacefully give you what sound. It's your ears. You are asking for this loud level. And if you're going to go to a point where it's too loud, it can be hampering to your ears. But either way, it's a still great system, and I suggest to use it cautiously. Most artists, most churches they've done away with stage monitors. And I'm so happy that your church has chosen to use an electronic drums instead of an acoustic drum. And we'll come to that in the next topic. But please use in-ear monitoring, so that reduces the need for more levels to come from these 2 speakers, which are not sufficient to cater to 8 people asking for individual requirements. Please use in-ears so your requirement is catered, and maybe the singers who are standing here can hear a little bit of the music, so you are in pitch. Otherwise you'll sing off, and then someone like me standing, that frequency is irritating me. He's off pitch. Yeah. So some basic levels, but the point is you don't have this overpowering from the main speaker. Yeah. Acoustically, uncle, we spoke about that in the beginning. Acoustically treat the room if possible. I'm not suggesting you to go and spend as a church. Okay, but acoustically will mean carpeting and a few things, diffusers. You might have seen in studios these rectangle pieces, right? They're called diffusers. They absorb the sound and diffuse it from rebounding and causing a issue and reverberance. So that's a whole different faction in terms of acoustically treating places. And then, like we were speaking out, Samuel, you need to please ring out a microphone. That's a sound engineer's task, where they push up the volume of a microphone to its optimal, where it starts feeding back. Then on the mixer, you will say, oh, okay, this is the frequency that is feeding back, so I cut it. I start cutting. So till I'm at a good loud volume and the microphone is not feeding back. So which is, yay, I got nice loud volume from this microphone. If I need to push it loud, it still doesn't feed back. If I need it less, it's obviously not going to feed back. So that's something that we need to carefully analyze when we are using a microphone. Let's move on. Okay, Samuel, if you don't mind, I brought 2 DI boxes. Could you pass it on to them? So you have DI boxes here as well on the stage. There are 2 instruments. I'm going to give you what we use in the sound. You can just pass it around and have a look at it. You just give it to this side. So just move on. So a DI box primary use, I mean, this is what it'll look at, but this is not the one. This is a DI box made by a company called Palmer. They can be expensive. The ones that you're passing around, is it passed around? Yeah. So you must be looking at a BSS DI. This is quite expensive, and I'm not marketing the product, I'm not selling it. This is just for your reference. I'm not a sales guy. But the primary use is, like, remember we spoke about balanced and unbalanced cables? The one that doesn't have the grounding. So here is where this box is very important. So what it does is, it takes a unbalanced signal and converts it into a grounding. I don't know if that makes sense. So this pin, this is a balanced, of course. So the one that without grounding, so if I connect that cable directly to the mixer and play it into the speakers, you will start getting buzz. There will be a buzz from the guitar. So what we do is, we connect it into this DI box. Then we connect a balanced cable from the output and then send this to the mixer. So the unbalanced now becomes balanced with the grounding factor. So that grounding is cut. We have solved an issue. So that is the primary use of a DI box. And it also has 2 other switches on it. It's called an attenuation switch, which means if we have one particular person who loves to play with loud volumes and the sound engineer says, please give me a volume, he set it. And then he's got that little buffer. That's why you might be hearing Samuel say 90%, 100%, full. So which means we are deliberate. I am deliberate to restrict you from tampering with my work, right? So what happens is, if you have that buffer of increasing your volume, it will change the levels. So as a sound engineer, I will tell you once, please don't do that. Please don't change your volume. Keep it at this volume. If you don't listen once, twice, I have somebody called as a stage tech. So I'm standing with the console. Oh, thank you. You want to see this as well? You can have a look. So I'll send the stage tech in a very courteous way. He will just come, and there's a switch that says attenuation of minus 20 decibels. We saw what decibels mean. It cuts your gain level just instantly, because I've told you once, I've told you twice, so I'll just tell the stage tech, please go and very politely pad that person's DI, which means cut his decibel level. So immediately, what, why is it not hearing? He'll say, volume. But I will just look at him as though, yes, it's done. It's fitting now in the mix. So there are certain things that we have to take very assertively when we are mixing, because it can compromise the overall system. Then someone says that the keyboard is very harsh, very jarring. And if I'm compromising and I'm very accommodating to that person, even though his volume is spoiling the mix, that's not going to help in a positive way. So I need to be a diplomatic, non-biased person when I'm operating the mixer for the best audible experience. So that's what that switch does there. Let's move on. DI box stands for direct injection box, and its primary purpose, as we saw, is to connect high impedance. So basically the mixer is, if you can say the mixer is sitting at this level, your instrument is already high because it's got a volume control. So it can be catastrophic or detrimental, can spoil the mixer. There's one of this church that called me and said, "Brother, one of this channel is not working. Can you please come and look at the mixer?" So even before going there, I said, "Are you using instruments without DI box?" "What is that, brother?" And so I said, "Okay." Then that answers the question. So when I went there, they had no DI box. Thankfully, you are using a DI box. So the signal that is high here needs to come down to the level of the mixer. Then what the mixer does, it further amplifies it to the speakers. But the mixer's potential is already able to push it up. So just imagine a hot or extremely strong signal coming in directly to the mixer and then being pushed up will only spoil your speaker drivers or even destroy the mixer preamp channel. So the DI box ensures that this signal comes down and meets the mixer, and the mixer decides how loud the signal needs to be pushed. Let's move on. Okay, we spoke about padding, that's to cut the level that is going into the box. Let's move on. Yeah, if you don't use a DI box, have you heard that there will be a buzz, like I told you? Unbalanced and balanced cables, so that's what will happen. Let's move on. Yeah, this will be detrimental to the sound system. How do we connect a DI box? If you need to know this, you can probably meet me, I'll show you. Okay, let me just show you that now itself. Because if it's a poor quality cable, again that will be prone to noise and harm.
And how do you refer to that? Refer to that as a quarter-inch dia or
Yes.
dia?
Samuel, pay attention. Until this quite a bit. So this is a quarter-inch diameter. Quarter-inch, and even the small ones that you use to connect your phone into your, that's a 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch.
And you have some amps which have this quarter-inch socket, and then your headphone may be of the 1/8. So is it better to have the direct one or to use a step down in the diameter? Your amp may have quarter-inch, but your headphone.
You have to have a converter.
But as a converter, is it advisable or
It's not advisable because there's a small tongue which may come out from the socket. So this is going to be difficult for you to remove. Is there a limit? There's a guitar. Let me just take the guitar here. So this guitar. Okay, I'm just going to do this like this. No, this is muted, right? before we go there, do you have any questions, or we can take a break actually?
So the mixer will be aware, the AI box will be there.
Yes.
So how will you be able to cut it? You're going to go there and press the button. When the person is playing to last.
Yes. So see, ideally, you has to be done in the first step. So not everything is you get it to, how to say, longer heads. But you very politely have to tell them, you should please give me some more, because I'm going to say this though we are in church, but not a lot of musicians are truthful, sorry to say, because they will say, so I was like, can you please push up your gain, please push up. So basically if I'm playing the keyboard, I need to push up the volume, because that's not going to send a signal. So what some musicians do, they will put it just about enough, because they know the sound is not a picky guy, they say, okay, sound is coming and we move on. So what will happen is when the worship starts, this guy wants to hear himself. As soon as he increases the volume, only the keyboard will be very loud, and that affects everything. This will be loud, that will be loud. Someone else will be, why the keyboard can suddenly has become loud? It was nice that because we have not cautiously set the gain level. So the to answer your question again, it should be done in the initial process of checking the instrument. It's called sound check. Please set the level, and we are trusting that the person is disciplined and professional enough not to make any changes. We've come to certain places where we've also not taken the risk. I want to put masking tape on the speaker on the things. It's not to offend anybody, but to be a foolproof method. So we take volumes and stuff, so the person doesn't tamper. If you say, I take you at your word, you need to take me, and even trust me at my word also. So if I tell you 50% or 80% volume, I don't know if I can show that to you. You see a volume control, right? Say 6 o'clock is 0 and 12 o'clock is 50%, and then back to 60 again is 100. If you want to look at it. So if I say 50% clock, I got good volume here. Please don't change your volume. No, I won't change. But when you start playing this fellow from 50%, you go to 70%. That affects the volume. So what happens is, now it's live. I cannot disturb the worship. Sorry, let's stop. So everybody, you're worshiping. It's awkward. So if I'm on a earphone, if I'm on a clear cut headset or walkie-talkie, I just say, please go and practice here 20 dB. So the audience does know. There's no disturbance. People are still worshiping. So the stage will be quiet. So then I actually give a thumbs up and the volume is. So this is good. So from 70 now he wants to get more volume because he's noticed there is a drop in volume. So he further increases. So dance area, we had overlooked something so small, but it caused us a huge problem. We overlooked something on power, and there was a return power coming because of one of the grounding or the polarity was not properly checked. So instantly, when you turn on the speaker, so my guys said, sir, run the pogo, and pogo, where is pogo? Go and see pogo is coming from the speaker because you compromised on power, which had an adverse detrimental effect to the system. Thank God nothing else blew, but the speakers went into overdrive. You didn't even turn the volume, but compromising on power was something like because grounding or returning power. That's why even when you turn on the system, Samuel will tell you what he does. Just because the speakers on, mixers on, you cannot go. Ideally, you're not authorized to do that unless you are Samuel or someone else who's authorized there. You cannot go and turn off the main LCD power. So you just kaput will go. Okay, once maybe, or maybe in the first instant also you may destroy the speaker output ICs, but there's a safe process. So when you come in, when Samuel comes in, he'll first turn on the mixer, am I right? Then he'll turn on the speakers, and then he'll go and check the microphone. He'll not do the opposite. He'll not turn on speaker first and then the mixer because the source is open, amplification source. So when you turn on the mixer, boom, that sound. That's bad. That will spoil your speaker IC and possibly the mixer as well. So there's a safe turn on, turn off process. So everything has eye for detail approach, and sad that some churches have overlooked it. They have a genuine need for good sound because at the end of the day, all we are doing is worship. When you gather on Sunday, it is to worship the Lord, hopefully without glitches, and we get people who volunteer and they're not paid, but they come and volunteer and as the musicians or anybody come and give it as to the Lord. But in doing so, we fortunately are using devices that can get spoiled. If you use your car badly, you drive it like a maniac, then you can't expect that to work without, or you don't service it for 20 years, if the car will run, it will give up on it. The way you maintain it, the way you handle it, the way you operate it matters as well. Similarly with any other instrument. So that's the thing that we have to.
There are two more questions last.
Tell me.
See, I've got an amp at home. Okay. Sonora in a unit school. And if it's not used for an extended period of time, especially if it is the rainy season, let's say I've not used it for 6 months and I put it on now. For half an hour, nothing will happen. Then the amp gets heated up and suddenly the speaker comes alive. What could be the reason? Is it that the terminals will be moist?
A lot of dust has gathered, moisture, can, some residue can have stuck on that. Provided it's not a tube amplifier, you check it because it takes time to turn on. There are some amplifiers called tube amplifiers.
No, this will come on immediately, but if it's not
It's a solid state, it's not a tube.
it must be a solid state. But if it is not used for some time, then I find that
the transformer is weak, it's taking time to turn on.
no, but if I use it frequently, then it comes on within. Secondly, last thing is for our house, what kind of a speaker should we buy in your particular about music, like you got the CD speakers and whatnot, which just as a on the roof.
Okay. You buy something that gives you preferably true audio or flat response audio, and I say that I tend to high definition speakers like home theater, the smaller Malay speakers. That is yes, you will still need to use a DFX because, like I said, its primary purpose is not only to defeat grounding or making it balance. Yes, the impedance. There's a word called impedance. Basically means you have a gain volume. It's called gain. Your volume control on your guitar or keyboard can be detrimental to the mixer. So, which means he has to be in control of you and not the other way around. He is the sound engineer, not the musician. So he determines what level the mixer, the signal needs to be at and not the musician. So that's another reason why. Like I told you, padding -20, -20.
So what, like in the speakers that are connected to the laptop, when you raise or change the volume, jarring of
Yes.
it, or probably it's one speaker is over the other. Is it that the time to throw in a speaker or is it cleaning?
Probably just need to get it serviced because the speaker, the driver is small, it's gone. The coil is gone in that because of overdriving.
So you just put a WD-40 spray, that's good enough?
No, WD-40 is good for many things, but not this thing. Please take it to an authorized service
So, but
center.
then it normally won't last more than 6 months to a year.
WD-40 is not the solution for everything. I think there's a problem with this speaker driver.
The basic speaker for 1,500 rupees is actually good.
So they have a threshold. There's a particular, and these manufacturers they are really not giving you the true classification of the speaker when they roll it out. So you have to use it cautiously. Suddenly using a media player like VLC and pushing it up to 200 when it's not advised, the volume control up to 200 is going to further boost the signal and then spoil and rupture the speaker driver, even for the cheap quality speaker. So we take a break or maybe 5-10 minutes break. We'll continue again. I hope it's helpful and I hope I'm not talking too much. And otherwise, if I'm talking too much, we'll take a break.
that let everything that has breath praise the Lord. And there's also a scripture, I don't know which verse it is. You can Google it, I don't have, but it says, if you don't choose to praise Him, whether it's on your instrument, without an instrument, with your voice or a mixer, if you don't make the decision to praise Him, then who will praise Him? The rocks will cry out, it says, right? Am I right? Have you heard of that scripture? If you don't praise Him, the rocks will cry out. So we have no excuse. You have so many options to just get involved. And I suggest you strongly just start researching some things about sound, let be intriguing. I don't think there's I hope, Babu Uncle, you can correct me. I don't think there's some kind of a restriction, but maybe if there is, you can talk to the elders. But I think it's if you show interest or you have that inclination, please approach either Babu Uncle or the leadership or Samuel, or you can always call me if you have any doubts regarding sound. And just get interested, take up the responsibility, because very few people take that up, and you don't know how much a responsibility it is. That one person has to make all these people sound good, and you have to be at your best emotion, because you may be having a tiring day also, and you come and stand at the mixer like everyone else, and you have to be pleasing to them, you have to make them sound good. Like I was just talking to Uncle here. Like if the worship leader is sounding great, if the mix is sounding good, I mean, yes, it is definitely the talent and the skill set of the musician playing or the person singing. But don't forget that guy standing there. He's the unsung person in the whole equation. Because if he chooses to make your day bad and spoil things, of course he'll lose his job. But he can either make or break the event, if you know what that means. If picture a wedding, and there are two people exchanging their vows, and do you take this person to be your husband? Before she can say hi do, and there's a scream, and so who's the sound guy, So you can make or break the event, and those are very, very, high expectation or responsibilities that's on the person managing sound, and hopefully you don't do something so tragic like that. But I'm hoping that you get inspired to come up and just learn something, or just be part. Even if you don't want to take up, and just one Sunday maybe get permission from people. Though it says access denied or something, authorized personally. Just get the permission. Go and sit and see what the person is doing. So this next part, what we want to do is we just want to talk maybe one or two fundamentals about the mixer. And this is your chance, like it says there, restricted entry. This is your chance, and I'm sure Babu will give the permission to. So you can just come and we'll give you a microphone. We'll flatline the EQ. We'll tell you what to do, and you'll feel like a king, Like, wow, the power that I have to make somebody sound good on a microphone. And we'll just show you the frequencies, and I'll give you a chance to adjust the frequencies, make my voice sound very bad or very good. Whatever you feel as a person that thinks my voice should sound, or your own voice, adjust it, and then you'll get to have a basic idea of the first level of what implies to make sound come out from a PA system. So this is going to be a little tricky. I'm not going to be standing here. For the best part, you'll be just looking at that screen. Then when we are done with maybe one or two topics, it's not, like I said, it's not the time and place for us to get into sound engineering. We're not doing that now. But it's a good FYI. So next time when something happens, like, hey, maybe he's not turned up this thing, or maybe that can be boosted, then you will become the sound expert. Please don't become the sound engineer. Like I said, only one sound engineer. You can have an opinion, but the sound guy needs to choose to take your opinion, right? It's like an opinion. Like I was doing this concert for one church, so we are mixing like lot of multiple bands and choirs and coming, and there'll be definitely different sound experts, but I have to take the best, and of course be open to feedback. If I'm doing something wrong, surely like someone's heard it and said, this guy, what is he doing? So I have to be open to feedback, but I cannot let the deciding factor be the sound expert. I am supposed to be the sound expert there. So like this one uncle, that HF is missing. So now when you say HF, it goes from at least the minimum 5K to 20,000 K. So my obvious question, okay, so uncle, which HF? And this is live, like, so basically his daughter is singing on stage, okay? So he wants the daughter to sound angelic, if you know what I mean. No? So she's sounding great, she's already sounding great, but he wants the something little extra should be there, like our Indian, perspective. Something little more, even if it's a budget, some reduction you give, some 10 rupees, 20 rupees discount, like that, something little bit should. So I asked him, uncle, what HF, where? No, HF is missing. So for me, HF is a very broad horizon. HF could be the speaker is gone or in my frequencies are not there. But taking the best in terms of what I can be pleasing to that person, also just boost up a little frequencies. Or rather, sometimes I don't do anything. I'll just put my finger on and say, is it better? I have not done anything, but it's just mind over matter sometimes, But you need to be owning the situation. But if I get into the thing of saying, no HF, and I boost, that frequency is going to affect everything that's connected to that microphone. You will get to know. So very, very tricky decisions that you have to be taking there, which is a very all daggers against you kind of a scenario. And the poor sound guy, sometimes we should just go and appreciate him, say, good job, nice. Worship was sounding great, thank you. Sometimes a good word, brings up a good moral. Yeah, so I'll mostly be standing there. We'll just tackle 2 topics, and I think that's more than enough for you. But please, this is your chance. Please come there and say, okay, I like to adjust a microphone. Don't miss out on this opportunity to come. You may not get an opportunity, and I'm so thankful that your church has a mixer like this. Some churches don't have one, they don't have the sound. They're just still struggling with analog. Analog is, of course, not digital. It's more cumbersome, more, you have to really get into the nitty-gritties of refining sound. And also, even if you're a person who's getting into nitty-gritties, you don't have that many options. Like a digital mixer is a plethora of options, It's no comparison. So I'm so glad you have a digital mixer, and that too you have the Allen and Heath SQ6 legendary mixer here. I was like, whoa, when Pastor Prince said, he said, this is the mixer. I'm like, Allen and Heath, oh, okay, great. 48 channel mixer. You will first of all not use more than 24. Are you using 24 channels? No. He's barely using somewhere between 12 to 15, maybe 18, or say even 24. So this mixer is it can go up to 48 channels. When you say 48 channels, 48 individual inputs, 48 people with microphones can stand on the stage, or 24 people with microphones and 24 with instruments. However you want to do the math, yeah? That's the ratio of feeding sound into the mixer. But there's a catch there, I'll come to it. You can go up to 48, or I may be wrong, 32 I think outputs can be done on the mixer. But right now, you don't have another device. It's called a stage box. Basically, that is like a secondary, or it's a mirror contrasting image of the mixer that comes here. Okay, so to get that component, of course, it's a new component you have to buy, which I'm not suggesting. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not doing sales here. But that, as you can see on device there, it's got like purple kind of lines. Cables. That's multiple cables. So that's what we made. So with that stage box, you just have to run true audio on a single cable called as a Cat6 cable. That's how technology has gone. So many cables merged into one single cable going from there to here on Cat6 cabling. That sends all your 48, even if it's 90, even if it's 100 channels, all through one independent cable only. But we don't have that now. But that mixer is able to go up to that potential. So right now we've rewired it to cater to 24 inputs, because you don't have that box, and 12 outputs. Am I right, Samuel? 12. So when I say 12 inputs, 24 inputs, you can say 12 singers, 12 musicians, or however you want to do the ratio as per your requirement. And it's got 12 outputs, which means I can connect 12 speakers. I can choose whatever I want to send those 12. So already 1, 2, 3, 4 is used. Plus we got 5 in-ears. 5 plus 4 is 10 outputs are being used. Am I right? 8. So 8 plus, we're using all 12 then, right? Oh, totally we are using 8. Okay, great. So you have the option of adding 4 more outputs. You can give one for a camera, or say we want to add a delay speaker. Now just make a note. Delay is when someone is sitting in front and maybe the sound is too loud here. You can bring this down and maybe add another set of 2 speakers, which is not required. You can put that there and balance the level. So people at the back also hear. Otherwise, I'm pushing the sound for me to hear at the back there. It ends up being loud here. So that's a concept in sound, but it's not required here. So you can choose to give those additional outputs for that. So that's just the basic input-output configuration of this mixer, besides the multiple beautiful, extremely versatile functions it has. So I think 2 things we're going to look at is just the surface area. We'll go there and look at faders. They look very magical when you start pressing by automatic, it moves to positions. You can save scenes on that. When I say scenes, I'm talking about mixing a band is not it's not magic. That guy is not a magician there. It takes time, and sometimes the mental pressure is too much. You have to keep listening, pleasing people, getting the sound fitting. You know, sometimes it's difficult. It's quite a daunting task, but it takes time. Now, to mixing a band, thank God you have an electronic drum kit. If it's an acoustic drum kit, you will be using a total of, guess how many mics? Acoustic drum kit is the one wooden, 8. Anybody else? 4. 2 more guesses and we'll. 8, 4. As per here is 9. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, the basic config of a standard 5-piece acoustic drum kit is kick, snare. I had tom 1, tom 2, floor tom, overheads, 2 overheads. So to cater to that ratio, I need kick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 condensers on the overheads, which is 8 microphones minimum. Sometimes drummers will just want to make the sound engineer's life even more difficult. And I want 2 kicks for my kick drum. So 2 mics. So he'll say kick in, kick out. That's already 2 more mics. So, and then he'll say for snare also, I want snare top and snare bottom. Why? Because the thirst and the pursuit to get the ultimate best sound of the equipment is prime. So if you add that ratio, it's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 microphones is going for only the microphone. So God help the sound engineer. He has to tweak 8 microphones as a cluster. Okay. So sometimes his job gets a little daunting, and hopefully we don't have to do that here. So we'll look at the basic thing is what does the inputs on the mixer do, you know. I think the point I was driving is after all of that time that's spent on mixing a drum kit, you know, if we look at an analog mixer, it doesn't have those options. Say, for example, you do all of those settings and you just leave it and go, and for some reason a small inquisitive child comes in, oh, what is this, mommy? And he turns the volume and gone. All my 4 or 5 hours of work is just gone because I can't remember what is the setting that I made. Unless you were like this person, or I'll give an example. I used to teach in this Bible college in Tamil Nadu called, it was in a place called Rayakotai and in a ministry called Eternal Light Ministries. So they used to have a school of praise and worship, and sound was one basic topic. So we had this guy from Jharkhand. His name was Bablu. So Bablu was very excited one day. So when we all as a worship, the teaching faculty came from Bangalore. Then he said, Bhaiya, I know how to do sound engineering. I said, really, Bablu? We said, really, what, kya pata chala abhi? So he said, I know how, I have come up with a formula, I said, formula, okay, great, let me hear your formula. So what this guy has gone and done, so on X, some other sound engineers come and set stuff, you know, like you picture the rotary knobs. So like, for example, if in any given setting, it was like, some knobs were like, say 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That is because that person heard the sound and he set it. So what this guy has done, he thought that's the formula. So he's gone and made a note, okay, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock. He's made a note of that formula. Though it may work, it's not applicable to a new setting, like a new singer or a new instrumental. So that it doesn't work like that. But in the digital mixer, after your hard work of setting everything, you can save it as a scene. So which means tampering, or it's a foolproof method. If someone comes and just pushes down all the buttons also, like, I don't have to worry.
I just have to go back to that scene and recall it. And it's got motorized faders, so it looks like magic. Shh, everything just comes back into position where it was before. Or it's like a Word file. You type something in a Word document that's confidential, send it to your email, you close that document, say 15 years later, provided Microsoft has the same versions or supporting versions of Microsoft Word, you open that Word file, what will you find? Your data, the same, you'll be able to read the same things you wrote in that document, exactly the same thing here. So that's how things have moved into the sphere of sound. So we look at stuff like that, just a basic thing of handling a microphone. I think that's more than enough. Thank you, Samuel. He's opened Zoom and he's facing a camera. So yeah, so I'll go there and maybe we will look. You can see my level coming up there, right? Just pay attention to those green lines, those green indicators. So that's very important. So I'll go there. Please look at this to the channel. So check. So this is my channel here, and I'm going to look at. We're going to talk about two things. Number one, as you can see here, this is where all the frequencies are. As you can see, there are some numbers here. Some numbers are here and here. And then the middle line here is 0 dB. Basically telling you that's the neutral level for your sound or frequencies. So the first thing you need to do as a person trying to get some volume, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. Okay, you can't hear me now. Obviously, you can't hear me now. So the first thing you need to do is do something. do something called as gain staging. Now, what is gain staging? It tells you, like I gave you the example of food. Like you definitely can't bring in just 2 orders of a biryani and serve 20 people. You need to have the right amount of quantity to cater to 20 people. So I'm giving you a very layman's explanation and analogy of gain. So basically here in a digital mixer, you can hear the sound level, or it's called a monitoring system. On some mixers, it goes as the abbreviation PFL, which means pre-fader listen. Without this being amplified, if I drop down the main level, yeah, 1 second, I think the monitors are on, check. Yeah, so you can still see, I'm going to talk without the mic, I know it's live stream, but you can still see those indicators moving, right? Check, you can see that green indicator. So that's what a PFL means. It is basically allowing me to gauge the level of the how much volume I'm sending on this channel even before hearing it. So pre-fader listen. So if I turn this off on the mixer, which here it's PAFL, or in other words, pre and after fader listen, so you will not see that there on the mixer, right? So when I just click a button here, PFL, then I have something called as a gain. So that tells me how much is a good quantity of volume for this channel. So the PFL, or the basic thing, is to ensure that these meters or these indicators touch the 0 dB level. 0 dB is fundamental level to start with, good gain, right? So that's the first thing you need to kind of set on a mixer. Then the next thing is you need to come to the frequencies. Now if I cut all of these frequencies, or I just start boosting them, remember we spoke about that 50 Hertz to 160 is the bass and low bass. As you see it on this mixer, if I start boosting that, it sounds very muddy, very muffled, very puffy, exactly as what that was saying. But if I cut that and refine the unnecessary frequencies that are not needed for my voice starts becoming more clearer. And similar with the other frequencies, if I start boosting them, you can see how muddy and nasal it sounds. hey. I surely don't want my voice sounding like that. It's very nasal and it'll cause other clashing frequencies there, because you can hear that feedback coming in. So basically, the mixer gives you a visual representation. I don't know if you can see these small, tiny dots that are peeking up and down. Can you see that? Check. Can you see that small, thin dots? So that is basically an RTA. Like I said, we can hear sound, but we can't see sound. So the RTA graph gives you a representation of how my voice is panning out in this room. So based on how the room is panning out in terms of my voice and the reverberance and the rebounding, you need to kind of trim the frequencies to, excuse me, to a point where it is feasible, or excuse me, I need some water. Yeah, so it is cordial to the room here. So to backtrack again, the first step that you need to do to assign good gain on a microphone or even an instrument is to check the gain level. And how you do that is, number one is each mixer has a set of input numbers, 1 to 48, or in this case 1 to 24. So you can choose if you want. You can take any random microphone and you can plug it in, say, input 1. So then you look at the mixer. For example, this cordless microphone that I'm speaking in is on input number 20. Okay, if you count the series, you'll come down to 20. So this microphone has been plugged in 20. So we will select the pre and after fader listen. Here it's an abbreviation of PAFL. So PAFL has to be highlighted. Then my gain is reduced, but you can see there's a gain switch, or it says preamp gain. So that kind of determines how much level is driven into this channel to get a good quantity of volume. So these green indicators need to touch 0. So when you touch 0, or basically can even just touch a little bit of the yellow as well. Check. So you've got a good quantity to work with. That's the, like, I'm just going back to the food. I'm not a foodie, but I'm just giving you an example. It's like making a biryani for 20 people, where you probably need between 5 to 10 kgs of rice. Yeah, you set the quantity, you determine the quantity for the recipe that is unfolding, and then everything is related to the gain, even your frequencies, then how much I need to send on some monitor, or how much I need to drive into the PA. Everything is connected to the gain. But how do I know how much is good gain? With this PFL meter. So I think that's the basic that we can, two functions. I think that's enough for this session of looking at the mixer. And that should give you a perspective of how sound is perceived, heard, or even looks in the RTA form on the mixer. So please, maybe one or two of you are welcome to come back to the mixer. I'll zero down the volume. I'll give you one more option here, one more feature rather. As you can see, there's a small green highlight here, right? There's this green highlight here. That is basically a low cut. Low cut meaning if I turn that off, you can see my voice gets more bassy. Basically, that coincides with the frequency response of the microphone. This microphone, I'm sure, is between 50 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. I have not seen the manual, but that's what I think it is at. So anyway, there's no use me letting frequencies below 40 hertz stay in the mix. And also, if I'm going to talk, you can see there's some plosive sounds coming, like the pa, pa, pa. You can see that's more. The microphone is picking up those boomy sounds and is just decluttering or making the mix muddy. So what I would do is I'll turn on this option here of cutting those unnecessary frequencies are going to sound very muddy into the mix, but and a clear voice is resounded through the microphone rather than sounding too boomy or these plosive sounds. If I use words like power, pressure, you can see that it's picking up those plosive sounds. Even the word picking up is sounding very plosive. So a high pass filter will cut those unnecessary pick up plosive sounds. As you can see, it's gone with the moving of the filter. So that's another option here to cut the frequencies between 50 to 100 hertz or even more if you want. Then as a person listening to the sound or the person's voice, I will start trimming the frequencies that are not needed or sounding very boxy, boomy, puffy. As I can say, I'll boost up the 500 hertz. You can see it starts, number one, feeding back because the gain is up. But my voice starts to sound very, very nasal and very, no, it doesn't sound pleasant basically, right? As you can see, any frequency that I move, it sounds odd. So these are the frequencies you want to kind of want to trim, so the mix sounds quite clear. And on this side of the mixer, I have these are called curves, frequency curves or frequencies. I can broaden the curve. I can first of all move it like this with the touch of a rotary knob, but this is a touch mixer, so I can move it with my finger also, okay? And I can broaden or narrow the width of this curve. By doing that, so I'm centering the frequency only around the 500 hertz. I'm just being point blank accurate that I don't want any frequencies beside the 500 which will go into the 480, 490 hertz, or anything above 500 which is like 55, 510, 520, 530 to be affected, except the frequencies that are above only the 500 hertz. So based on that, I can cut the amount of decibel that is needed. I can either boost it up, which is going to sound terrible, or I can cut it down to a very more pleasing level that is more fitting for the environment and the microphone. And if I feel that, okay, maybe a few frequencies left and right can be cut as well, I'll widen the curve. I'll widen it, so yeah, so those frequencies left and right also be cut. So that's a basic approach to kind of EQing a microphone. Whatever you feel is the frequency that needs to be changed or is contributing to being sounding odd in the mix, you can change it, yeah? But a good sound engineer at the end of the day, no matter if the visual representation is there as well, the main important point for sound to be trimmed or constituted better is using your ears. That is the underlining rule. So I would suggest that in fact, as many people come, take maybe two at a time or one at two max at a time can come. Please try your hand at gain staging a microphone and adjusting a microphone, and we can have this session wrapped up with knowing your mixer. So please feel free to come forward. Don't hesitate. This is maybe one of chance that you will get access to come into this restricted area. So don't hesitate to please come. Try your hand at EQing a microphone. I'm going to zero down all the levels. I'm going to make it at 0, and then we'll just guide you and we'll observe your ears how it's panning out. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for all of you taking your time to come here. The ultimate aim of this session training is, as Jason was telling, that we have a legendary system here, but we never had people to do it. So now this is an opportunity. We are really looking forward from the church perspective, at least 4 or 5 people to come up, keen to learn, understand, and give a hand to Sam on the future. So that is a commitment we are looking at it from. And okay, most of the people are here, including me, for to understand a new subject. But ultimately, end of the day, we are looking for at least 4 or 5 people, very keen to help come here and learn more. Thank you.
I strongly support that, because if you have to study sound engineering, please save this website. You can look at this college that is not very far from here. It's right here in Hoskote. They're called Audio Academy. Please go to audioacademy.com and look at what is their course fee for sound engineering. It is called sound engineering for a reason, okay? And that course starts anywhere between 5 to 6 lakhs. Please go and look up the course. But by the time you finish that sound course, you will have a certification from one of the world-renowned companies, and any band or any company. I know guys who I have certified. When I was in Christ University, one dance teacher came to me and said, my brother is planning to study sound engineering. I have never met this student. He had already graduated from sound engineering, but he's planning to study in Leeds University, she says. So I said, I wrote a recommendation letter, gave it to him, mailed Leeds University, vouching for this student that I had never met during my tenure or his tenure under the cultural team. Years later, this guy has come back, and guess who he mixes sound for? His name is Supratik Das. You can look him up on Instagram. He is the official sound engineer for Raghu Dikshit. So, and each show is a very high paying show, and it's definitely what level we are doing. Even this mixer is a very basic level from what gadgets and mixers they are using. So, but my point is, here is you have a nice opportunity, and the church has taken the initiative to do this. I'm here, we are here. So please come forward, and hopefully we'll ease Samuel from the from the tension that he has to bear. In a good sense is what I meant. But it'll be nice to have a team of people that are put together. You can be rostered, and nobody's going to put you into the deep ocean. We will guide you. Samuel is a very nice person. I'm sure he is going to guide you and share his knowledge so he can get some relaxing time. So please come. So we'll do two things. We'll do a microphone, then we'll do 2 microphones and instrument, and yay, you are done. You've put a band together. If you want to really take up the challenge, this is your time. Otherwise, please don't come into this restricted access area and trouble him. Give me one chance. No. He's just going to say, brother, I think that side, you have to go that side. So yeah, let's cut all these frequencies first.
channel. Say check, you need to keep.
Check.
Do you hear any sound? No, because your master fader is down.
Is that okay?
Bring down the channel fader. This may be too much also.
Check. 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 Check.
Some more,
Check.
some more.
Check.
Keep pushing.
Check. Check.
Yeah, stop. Can you hear that feedback? That's because frequencies are conflicting. So now don't panic, let it be at this. So now we need to turn on something called as EQ. Oh wait, let me go back. Like I told you, the frequency response of the microphone. This microphone for sure will be from 50 hertz to 15,000 kilohertz for sure, if not 20,000 kilohertz. So you'll see the spectrum here. So this is a, we need to cut this out. So you turn this on here in, okay, keep saying check.
Check.
So not turning this also, now you start turning it clockwise. Here. You'll see, keep checking,
Check.
keep moving it.
Check.
You can see 50 here.
Check.
Bring this curve so
Check.
it touches 100.
Check.
Little more,
Check.
little more.
Check.
Just
Check.
let the curves just come a little bit above 100 hertz. So you're basically cutting out everything that's
Check.
below 50. Some more, some more,
Check.
some more.
Check.
Okay, so all the low gunk or the muddy sounds have been cut out, but we still have other frequencies to deal with. So that's here. Now for those frequencies we need to move. You can see it says low, low mid, high mids,
High
HF.
frequency.
HF is not like that uncle said HF. High frequencies, okay? So which frequency you want to cut? So you have to keep using your ears and asking that person, check, check. So keep checking now.
Check.
So now as according
Check.
to your ears, I'm going to push
Check.
it up. Look at the RTA, okay? This is the spectrum. So the RTA is guiding you. It's always showing you there's a problematic frequency that is coming. So keep saying check.
Check.
Just watch it.
Check. Check.
Where do you see it peaking?
Check. Check. 500.
500? Bring it down now. That will be somewhere in the low mids, okay? So select that. Sorry, you should select, okay. Select low mids. Select low mids. So now, this frequency has a gain also. You reduce or increase. Not this gain. This is totally independent. That determines this whole volume. So this is a gain for, if you select this, the gain for this, you can reduce or increase. But we now selected low mid. So now, you need to reduce. So you will go anti-clockwise. Keep saying check.
Check.
Keep saying
Check. Check.
Okay.
Check.
Wait, let's stop there. We are still on the wrong frequency. Yeah, you need to be on the low frequency, my bad. Okay, so let's push this back. Okay, select low. Okay, so now you start reducing.
Check.
You'll see a curve drop down, right?
Check.
Drop it more.
Check.
Okay, you can see the curve is quite wide.
Check.
So do we want to narrow it a little bit? So you will go to the width. Reduce it. You'll see the curve will narrow it.
Check.
Keep reducing.
Check. Check.
Sorry, my bad. Just go to anti-clockwise.
Check.
Make it more
Check.
narrow. Some more narrow.
Check.
A little more narrow.
Check.
Okay. But what frequency did we highlight?
Low.
Low.
No, no. What frequency?
500.
So we need to go to that frequency. So you need to move that curve to 500. Move it to 500.
Check.
Yeah. So it comes over 500.
Yeah.
Make it come over 500. No, no. You're going here. Yeah, right over 500. Yes. Please, the tip needs to touch. Yes. Stop. Keep saying check now.
Check.
Now you will reduce the gain on the frequency. Now you bring it down more. Reduce. Not the frequency. The
Sorry.
gain. The gain is down. Yes. Cut it. Reduce. Yes.
Check.
Yes. Cut some more.
Check.
More. I'll
Check.
push this up.
check,
Little better?
check, yeah.
See, that howling was not there. So now that's one frequency. You need to see another frequency. That's calling the ring out process. So you push the microphone, you'll see another.
Check,
Can you see? So we will tackle this issue here. We'll move this frequency back here. We'll take a low mid and cut that here. Okay? So we found out that the 500 hertz was an issue. Go to the low and now cut that. Say check.
check, check,
So you can see there's a conflicting frequency here. So what I will do is I'll just widen this curve. Yeah? Or I can check this frequency here and bring it down. Widen the width. Say check here.
check, check,
Now see there's another frequency that will start showing. It is? Where is it?
it's
Keep
fine.
saying check.
Check,
You can see it's right here. So bring it down. Then we'll go to the high mix. Move the frequency. Keep saying check.
check,
Move it.
check,
Stop. Now
check,
now you bring down the gain for that frequency. Bring it down. Reduce.
check,
Reduce.
check,
Reduce.
check,
More.
check,
Some more.
check,
Some more.
check,
You can be generous.
check,
Yes.
check,
Yes.
check.
Now, Samuel, what's your gain on any given? Is it 35?
No, it's somewhere.
Yeah. So which means this is quite a strong, good quantity, and see where we are. The fade itself is going to 0 dB. So this is not like a ringing out process. It takes time. But once you get it right, you will not have to worry about your monitors. You will not have to worry about the feedback coming out from the microphone. See how it's almost going to 0 dB. That's too much for what you require. So then,
Do we do this for every mic?
yeah, so every 58 same classification microphone, then this mixer has a beautiful option, like how you control X, control V on Windows, you can do that, you can copy paste. So how much time did I take? We've taken quite a bit of time, right? Do you want to do that on the next microphone? No, you want to save time. So you copy paste this and goes paste onto the next channel. My time is saved. So I spend the time that I need to resolve an issue for. So if it's a common microphone, copy paste, not spending time on 10 minutes per microphone. That's a waste of time. So that's the advantages of a digital mix. You can't do that on analog. And just imagine all of this time we have spent, and my hard work goes because some child came and fiddled with it, or somebody by mistake also maybe have done. But that doesn't matter. We can save it as a scene, and we'll show you that, which is not part of the training here. But this is a basic thing. Just move it up. Move. Just say check. Keep saying check.
Check, check, check.
So there's some still more frequency. Point is, we'll never have to go so high. But you want to try and bring the microphone to the ultimate state of, even if we have to push volume so loud. So we'll drop a few more levels on this. A few more frequencies. We can bring in the high and the low pass. We can cut a little more. Widen the curve. Widen it a little more. Say check.
Check, 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 check.
Did you see that got cut, right? So there's a still small slight ring here on. See, I clicked it here, it automatically came here. See? See how it is relating to the frequency. So then I will again further cut this, widen this here, widen it. There's no formula like how that Bablu said. That's how the formula is. There is no formula. Sorry to say, you have to get into the process of understanding this. Only then it's going to be specific to her voice or his voice. Say check again.
Check, check, check.
Yeah, quite a bit. It's quite loud gain, but the microphone is nice and loud. So
Check.
that's basically how you would ring out a microphone or set a mic. So this is definitely ready to
Check 1, 2, 2, 2. Hey, test.
It's quite loud. Yeah, quite audible. And you think
It's too loud, just drop it down. Check test 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. This is quite loud for this requirement. Check 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you turn off PAFL and you go to the next instrument or next mic.
someone else wants to try this?
Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. Check, check. Hey. Check, 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 check. Hey. Hey. Hey, 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 hey. Check. 1, 2. Check. 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 Check, 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 check. 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 Hey. Hey. Check. Amazing grace.
Go, 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 go. That was the chance. Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. Shana, go, Shana, go. Yeah, go, 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 go. Joe, come. Next person. Jessica, Jessica, go.
Shh. Check, check.
Now we want a different kind of voice. Auntie, you want to be that voice?
Sing, look at that.
Mm.
You have a nice voice. So pretty. I know.
Different.
Bringing out is you're cutting the frequencies of the microphone that is causing a clashing with the window. So you ring out, it means you remove those unwanted frequencies. I don't need it. It's going to be an obstacle.
The music comes again based on their voice.
Possibly. But I can bring all, I don't need to be doing that when the artist comes, because the artist doesn't like his time wasted. Why are you doing this now? It's irritating again, you get my sound check, I'm hungry, you haven't had lunch, you gave the sound check, we need to move there very time. So you need to make sure that the general settings are, these are all general settings. So when he comes, he give me a little more mid, reduce too much of it, just boost it up, then you just very cautiously move it up and balance to what he likes. If he likes rose chapter, I won't come to this microphone again. Otherwise, then I'll name it, okay, I'll name it like Samuel. By the way, I'll show you this. So this, I don't know if you guys can see this. Right now we've named it as Vox 1, Vox 2, Vox 3. But say this microphone is only going to be used by, sorry, what's it?
Sergeant.
Sergeant. So only by Sergeant. Okay, so we go here and so this got a small, right now it's a general name, but I can give it a name like SAJ.
That's right. Alan and Heath and Sergeant. That's cool, isn't it?
If he likes a color, you can put a color also.
Phew, that's cool.
What's your favorite color? Pink.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think you can get too many letters. It's showing as Saja here, but you can personalize the channels to basically. So yeah, so please feel free. Someone else wants to.
Is there a filter like similar to the high pass frequency, the lower?
In this, is it? Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. You can go past the entire section. You can change it here. Yeah. This. So there's this option here to bend the frequency. Yeah. Where I will do this, since you asked me this, remember we spoke about those outputs. So right now your church doesn't have subwoofers because they're really low end. So if I want to send one output to the subwoofer, the subwoofer's main purpose is to give only the low sounds. That's from if it can give 40 hertz to maybe 150 hertz. I don't need anything above 150. So do you think I should be leaving it open? What will I do? I'll do a low pass. I will select this, for example. This is an input channel, but I'm just showing. So there's an option here to change your input. If you guys can see this, it's just
Check.
so I'll totally change this to
Check. Hi. What's up? Hi.
SPL. Yeah, SPL now is somewhat. So your master. Now on the speakers you have volume controls. You turn that up. That adds more even loudness or more output. But which will not be fitting for this room. It's not required. But if you are in a ground setting, the sound pressure levels is very loud. So there is a threshold that is not permissible in every area or every jurisdiction has that. No, we have to send the sound. The whole band has to be playing its optimum volume, and then you check it with a separate meter and show you how many decibels. If it's going above that 80, 90 decibels, that level, your driving levels too much at that level. So one guy we were doing sound for this church, and what I'm going to do is I'll meet you. So, but we were doing sound, and there was this layout at the side, and they're not Christians. It's a Christian concert that's happening, and different bands, they come distortion and metal. They're singing Petra. Yeah. Jekyll and Hyde. So they are performing Jekyll and Hyde. I'm sure there's a layout that's not liking the sound levels. So around 8:49, one guy comes going, shut down. So because I'm not the sound engineer, I can't do much. I can't just shut down the system because the church, why did you shut down? So it's like, shut down, all are standing, they'll come and beat. But you'll get threats like that, or the police will come and say they'll want some drive. All these things happen here.
That's a motivation to be sound engineers.
So first of all, you have to deal with all of these things. You can see it's taking some time. Please have some appreciation for it. Anybody else wants to try this? This is your chance. Yeah, please come. So maybe 2 people.
Check.
check, 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 test, test, sorry, check, check, test, test, test. Okay, so we've got this coming on the main speaker. So if I cut the master, you don't hear it. Check, check. So now to send it to a monitor, I need to select which monitor. There's 1 and 2, and there are the musicians who have their in-ears. So if the monitor person is asking, I need a little bit of the monitor, I select that monitor, and you can see channel sergeant is 0, right? So I start check, 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 test, 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 test. So it's those 2 speakers only. Then if I want to come back to the main, I press the left and right. Check, test, test, 1, 2. Anybody else wants to try this? I'm not sure how much time we have. This is your chance. Please come.
Can I?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
check, 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 testing, check, check.
So this is unprocessed audio. Yeah. So you can see the channel is highlighted. Yeah. Okay. So we need to start turning on the EQ to cut the frequency that's not in. So you first go to the high pass and select it in. Yeah, that's one.
Check.
Then click on the channel. You can see a small EQ box.
Yeah.
Click on it. Yes, it opens up the EQ.
Yeah.
So now we will cut the unwanted frequency by turning the rotary knob.
Check, 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 check,
Let the curve come up above 100.
check, 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 check.
Okay. So now, remember the frequencies we saw?
Yeah.
That's all here.
Okay.
Even if you tap the frequency, this will be highlighted.
Okay.
So push up the volume. And
Okay,
I want,
either I can tap or I can press
yes,
it.
you can. But start pushing up the volume now to find out what is the problem frequency. Just
Okay.
push up the volume and keep saying check.
Check, check,
This is the RTA, by the way. Yeah, push up slowly.
check, 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 testing, check, 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 testing, check,
Push. I want you to.
check,
It will feedback. Push,
check, check, check,
push more.
testing, check,
Push more.
check, check,
Push.
check, 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 check,
As you can see, different voices are responding very differently. See, his voice was not showing problematic frequency. My voice was showing, or her voice was showing problematic. So it's quite subjective to the individual as well.
like once that is done, you have to take this off or?
Not yet. So we want to make sure that we don't run into a feedback situation. So I'll be like this. Check, test, 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 check, check. Check test 1, 2, 2, 2. As you can see, the RTA is going up. It's showing these frequencies are quite peaking here. Check, check, check. See, that's a lingering frequency. So what I'll do is that's a low mid frequency. So I'll say highlight LM, which is low mid. Check, check. Now bring it down. You can either with your finger, since it's a touch screen, or you can use the gain. It's got an individual, you can reduce here as well. Check, check, test, test. No, no, reduce. Check, check, test, test, test. Reduce some low mid frequencies. Low mid. Check, 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 check. So you can tap this here. LF is low mid. Check, test. Yeah. Then reduce the gain. Check, test, 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 test. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Reduce. Check, check, test. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Hey, hey. So this is kind of the approach you need to have. You have to be using your ears. If you feel the voice is sounding quite muddy, you can reduce whatever frequencies as your ear gets used to listening to these frequencies sound. So if it's too sharp, you can need to cut frequency. Or if it's lacking that brightness, you can increase even. Check, check, test, test. Check, check. But this will be too much. Check, 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 check. So like that, every voice has a different. My voice is not the same as your voice. So yeah, that's the kind of approach. Instruments are like that as well. Does someone want to try the piano? Or yeah, let's try a piano. Or you want to try voice itself?
Someone can play piano.
Sorry?
Yeah, someone can play piano.
Yeah. Someone else wants to try and then she wants. Come. I'm sorry. You want to try? Okay. So I'm going to shut down.
check, check, check.
Okay, so now don't get intimidated about it. So push up the channel, look at the RTA. This is giving you a visual representation of how the microphone is speaking. So push it up, slowly. Where was it increasing? Can you see?
Yeah.
Where?
500.
There are numbers here. Exactly. So bring it down so it doesn't continuously this here. So your frequencies are here. So this will come under the low mid frequency. So either you can tap that, just tap that square. See, it comes into the low. And just bring it down. Okay, not too much also because you don't want to take out too much. Just little up. Okay. Not on the 500 hertz. Okay. Now push up the fader again and hear it.
Check, 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 check.
Okay, so that issue has been partially sorted. We still have other frequencies. Coming in here. We'll bring it down. But the frequency response of the microphone, yes, is 50 hertz. You can see that booming. So we'll cut those frequencies here by selecting that. Select in and turn the rotary knob so it will cut the frequencies from 50.
This?
Yes. Keep turning, keep saying check. You have to keep checking.
Check, check,
So
check.
50 hertz and above
Check.
is cut. Some more.
Check.
Stop. So then again, we go back to the fader, push it up.
Check,
Push, push, push.
check, check.
Issue. Yeah, that's an issue. So you select the low frequency now. Yes. Yeah, no, low mid here.
Sorry.
Or you can just go directly there itself. If you saw it, you can go directly there. Just click on that. Yes. Reduce, 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 reduce. Reduce more. Keep checking. You have to keep saying check.
Check, check, check,
Did
check.
that solve the issue? Not too much, but just say check.
Check, check.
It solved that issue, but there's another frequency coming here. So select that. Bring it down. Bring it down. Above that frequency where it was showing an issue. Keep saying check. You have to
Check, check, check.
somehow to your left.
Check, check, check.
Okay. I think somewhat it is kind of sorted out the frequency, but you're getting the idea, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the other. Say check. Let me just check. Check test 1, 2, 2. Okay. It's decent, but it still needs refinement. But that's the idea. Great. We will take a break. I think we're getting into lunchtime. People are hungry, so we'll take a lunch break. Any announcement? Sorry.
Okay, we just want to thank you, Jason, for being here, and we're so appreciative of you. Thank you, each one of you. Yeah, you've done a wonderful job. Thank you, each one of you, for being here. Really appreciate. We hope we all have learned something today, and we'll make use of whatever we have learned today by the grace of God and use it for the kingdom of God. So appreciate you a lot. Brother Jason, thanking you for coming here and taking your time and teaching your valuable experience with all of us. Let's bow our hearts and say a word of prayer as we take a break. Thank you, Father, for this day. Thank you for what you are doing in our midst. Thank you, Lord, you are the one who equips. You are the one who gives the skills to your people for the expansion of your kingdom, for the building of your church. Oh Father, we pray, oh God, that every heart who's been here will be stirred up, oh God, Lord, and will be able to understand. And Lord, Holy Spirit, you explain, you remind, oh God, you teach and you grant the skill that these dear ones need, oh God, Father, to be used for the glory of your name. We thank you, Father, once again for this opportunity. We thank our pastors. Oh Lord, we thank this place. We thank even the provision of the mixer and all these systems that you have provided us. Oh Father, we are grateful to you. Enable us to use it to the maximum potential for the glory and expansion of your kingdom. We thank you, Lord. We thank you for the food. Lord, blessed, sanctified, that will go well with each one of us. Once again, we are grateful for the life of Brother Jason. We bless him in your name, him and his family. We bless his ministry, oh God, that wherever he goes, Lord, that you will equip him and you will use him for the glory of your kingdom. And Lord, your gospel will spread wide, oh Father, through this channel of this dear brother. We bless him and his family and cover him with your precious blood at all times. We thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Yeah, hello. Just a minute. Mr. Jason, thank you for clarifying doubts. I warned you, I'll ask you a lot of questions. I hope they were sensible. And guys, I just want to also say, so many times we've heard good messages, good music being played. I don't know if you remember, I said Sachin was playing very well 2-3 times. And once I said, if Sachin is playing well, it is only because of these people. Believe me, if they want, they can really spoil it. But they have had the skill to make sure that you are enjoying what you're doing. Many a time, I'm telling you this very frankly, when I found that the music wasn't good or the volume wasn't good, or let's say something went wrong that day, I'd go up to these people and say, hey Shri, this wasn't sounding good. It was a positive criticism which I gave, but it was a genuine feedback. You have to, believe me, you have to go and pat these people on the back. If you do something good and no one is there to listen, you will feel dejected. Next time you hear a very good message, praise Pastor and tell these guys, thank you, the sound was awesome. And I think they all deserve a hand. Believe me, these guys are very good. They are the unsung heroes here. I'm telling you this. These girls also here, they do the job. We just assume, we take it for granted, everything is okay. Anyway, thank you, Sam and Prashant, and I think Shri also is there. Anyway, thank you so much.
Mute. Connect the cable.